Welcome back to Macrodosing. What was our tagline we just came up with?
Less facts, more stuff.
Less
more
facts,
bros, less hoes.
more bros, fewer hoes. Actually, more stuff. Less facts, more stuff. Macrodosing. That's what we're calling it. Good to have you guys back. This is an exciting episode for me personally because I've just seen how hard Billy's been working on this episode for the last 3 weeks. We actually had to put off doing this episode for 3 weeks because Billy just needs to collect more facts. So he's been going on a fact-finding mission. I'm very excited to see what he comes up with. But we got everyone here today minus Coley. The McMahon, I guess he's in Indianapolis right now getting ready for the national title game. We saw a picture of him wearing a fox on his head. And I guess he spontaneously grew long hair and got his nose pierced. But that's Coley for you. Real wild card, that one. But yeah, we got everybody except for Coley today. Very excited. How's everybody doing? Let's get a vibe check in the room. Arian, how are you doing?
I'm feeling great, man. Got a new iPad I'm excited about. Every 3 or 4 years ago, or 3 or 4 years or so, I just splurge on Apple products, and I did that this Christmas. So I'm excited about it. It's going to do pretty much the same shit, but it's just newer and feels cooler. So
yeah,
excited.
What about that new Apple Watch? Those Apple Watch commercials.
Oh yeah, if you don't buy it, you'll die in a
I feel
fire.
like I'm getting threatened.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting threatened.
Yeah, if you don't buy our product,
you're gonna get stranded.
You're
in
gonna
the
choke
ocean.
on your own bodily fluids.
Not the worst advertising strategy.
No, it's
to be
actually
honest.
pretty good.
I feel threatened.
We should do that for macrodosing. Like if you don't listen, how many times per episode do you think that we could save somebody's life with the fact that we give
like
out?
6?
Yeah,
I think this show is long enough. We could just at some point someone would get something from it.
Christmas trees, dried Christmas trees, burn like a motherfucker fast, quickly. Get them out of your house.
That's one.
Yep, throw them into your neighbor's yard.
I was using some Christmas tree branches as kindling for a fire I was making this weekend. It is gasoline.
Yeah,
Straight up. So yeah, if you wouldn't know
Why
that.
were you making a fire?
It's winter, Sober January,
Yeah,
do
wait.
stupid shit.
Wait, you live like in an apartment?
Yeah, you live in Hoboken.
I
Where?
was out of the city. Am I not allowed to leave the city
Okay.
and go back to the barn sometimes?
All right.
Yeah, like
Your people got a barn?
yep.
Gotcha.
That's where I was living.
So you just the farm boy making the fire.
A fox killed all the chickens, all the hens recently, so we have a lonely rooster.
You had a literal fox in the hen house?
Yep, I have a picture of it.
That's fucked up. Why
Yeah,
didn't your rooster protect the hens?
Because my rooster's a pussy.
Yeah,
That's
he
why.
is.
He was before we used to just give him the excuse that he was young because I raised him from a chick.
Oh, so you raised him incorrectly.
Yeah,
I raised a pussy ass rooster.
That's what the problem is. Yeah. You're
So-
a bad male role model.
Yeah.
All
Also,
these liberal roosters out here running.
my rooster's
the hens.
absolutely.
Arian, where are the fathers? That's what we need to be asking.
Where are the rooster fathers?
Let me find.
Yeah, let's see.
Not,
So
not in the barn.
thoughts and prayers to your hens, Billy, so you don't have any more eggs.
Yeah. Sad.
Are you gonna get more chickens?
I don't know. I think we're gonna wait for the spring. The thing is with the basically what happened is once I took my dog away and like moved in to like the city area, the fox basically like when there's not the piss and shit around the area, all the predators start to move in because they're like, oh,
Damn.
that dog's gone.
Yeah, you need to do a better job raising those chickens, Billy. They need to have an aggressive, assertive male role model in their life.
I know.
They can model their behavior after.
Yeah, but
I also saw that our mutual friend Aaron Ripkowski, the old fullback from the Packers, he had a chicken incident too.
yeah, his chicken passed.
His favorite chicken got attacked and killed, unfortunately.
yeah. I mean,
His chicken passed like he had a heart attack or something.
this chicken was violently murdered. Honestly, that basically when you're doing like, as they say, like hobby farming of chickens for fresh eggs, you're just going to deal with something's going to kill your hens unless you lock it down like Fort Knox. Like it's just inevitable.
You don't really say it's not how you describe it, right? If somebody dies violently, you don't really say they passed, right?
They were murdered.
Yeah, passed is more for
Costed.
like natural causes, right?
Died in
You
your
don't-
sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, he passed. Like if you're murdered, it's not like he passed. Passed is almost palatable. It almost makes it sound like I'm gonna pass. I don't wanna die. I wanna pass.
Right. Yeah. Oh, my uncle passed away. Oh, that's too bad. How did it happen? D-Day. Passed away. You're right. It's more like neutral. Like close your eyes, embrace the warm sleep of death.
Yeah.
That's morbid.
It is morbid. Yeah.
Apple products,
Apple products. They will save your life.
iPads. I think they're obsolete.
So you have a MacBook. You're literally using a
I know.
MacBook right now.
I know, but iPads, like I have a phone, which is pretty big nowadays, and I have a computer. Where's the room for the iPad?
Can't you do like music stuff on it?
Well, no, it's basically the liaison, right? So I don't use so. Here's a good example. I don't use like this laptop I'm on right now. I travel with. It's a gaming laptop, so it's like a PC. It's not. It's not a Mac. I like a lot of you can't really game on a PC on a Mac, right? But I still want that screen if I'm traveling, to download movies if I want to save space on my gaming laptop. So I travel with the laptop with the iPad to kind of store all my videos and pictures and shit like that.
That's actually facts.
I think the iPad's great. It doesn't like overheat like a laptop when it's on your lap, and it's a big screen. You can bring it anywhere, and I think it'd be great it's like mobile watching things. It's good.
Yeah, it doesn't nuke your balls.
Yep.
Like a laptop.
Is that real?
Yeah, but it's just the heat.
Okay.
There's no radiation that comes from the screen.
Nah.
By the way, Arian, Billy's currently in the process of just like annihilating my prostate. That sounded bad the way that I said it. Let me rephrase that.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah, no, I'd like to rephrase that. And I don't mean to leave the rest of you out. I was just telling Arian because maybe some people around the office have heard me talking to Billy about this.
Yeah, you got to land this plane fast, man.
Billy's giving me all these supplements, and maybe some of them are working. I've noticed that I've become more vascular after my workouts in my arms, so I can see like more veins and shit. That part's true, but also I'm pissing like 20 times a day. And
vitamins, probably.
I don't. It's not really vitamins because usually when you piss, if you've been taking vitamins, you see like bright orange piss or like highlighter pee. My pee is the same color as normal, and especially if I'm drinking beers, I have to pee like every 5 to 10 minutes. It's ridiculous. Like I'm peeing all the time, and I think it's because Billy's pills that he's giving me are fucking up my prostate.
I gave him a bunch of T boosters, stuff to support healthy testosterone production, and I think it enlarged his prostate because I think that's more of like a maintenance problem by you.
What does that mean? I'm not maintaining my prostate?
I think you might be a little backed up.
I'm doing Kegels.
You around that age where we got to start paying attention to your prostate and shit like that. Like my grandfather, not to be bring down, but my grandpa actually died of prostate cancer. So like I'm gotta be kind of hyper aware of some of this shit. So if you taking shit that actively fucks with your prostate, I don't know, man. Maybe get it checked up before you start popping Billy's private pack of muscle gain. I
don't trust Billy's basically big pharma. He's just
I'm small pharma.
Yeah,
I'm mini pharma.
Yeah,
Micro pharma.
Micro pharma.
Independent pharma. Farmersonly.com.
The appeal, Billy. Maybe you could give me light on it. Like I was a professional athlete, but dudes always had supplements. They always had something. I never really took anything. Well, the one time I did, it fucked me up.
Yeah, some people aren't born with the best genetics for like being jacked, athletic, so they try to, make up for it in other ways.
Yeah, who are you insinuating here?
Just like
you had somebody in mind.
I don't know, like us not professional athletes.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised that Billy hasn't tried to talk to you, Arian, about getting you on some sort of supplement regimen because I feel like Billy would look at you like his favorite project because you do have you've got all the building blocks and Billy would be like, I could make a superhuman out of Arian.
Yeah, I'm straight, man.
I feel like he's climbed the mountain, so he has no real motivation to sort of
zero.
Yeah.
That's actually fucking me up right now. Being consistent in like working out is fucking me up because I just don't have any. Like I'll get to a point where I'm comfortable and then I'll just stop again because it just done it so much that it's just I need other motivation.
Like when you talk to bodybuilders, it's always like what's his face? I'm blanking on his name, but a lot of them they're like it's like climbing a mountain. They got gigantic. They hit super huge, PRs, and now they're done. They're like, yeah, I climbed the mountain. That's why I did it.
Yeah. What do you do how does a bodybuilder retire?
Ronnie Coleman basically literally can't walk anymore. He has like 2 walking sticks. His back is shot. And it's like, would you do the same thing again? He's like, yeah, hell yeah.
He's like, did you see how jacked I got?
Yeah, I mean, look up Ronnie Coleman.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
And now he walks around. His back is absolute, like, his body is shot, but he climbed that mountain.
All right. Well, maybe I'll go see a doctor and have them give me some prostate answers. I don't think my prostate's fucked up. Actually, I think it's just that I'm taking all these supplements and my piss is falling out of my body.
I bet if we actually did labs and took your testosterone before you started taking my supplements and what they are currently, it's definitely, I'd say, like 100 ng over DLs more.
My T's higher?
Yeah, 100%.
It explains all the fights I've been getting into.
Yeah.
I'm just beating
Have
ass.
you been angrier?
Yeah, I've been beating everybody's ass. Yeah, I kicked out of 3 bars this weekend. It was a scene. Big T, how are you doing?
You know me. Same as always.
Exact same as always? No better, no worse?
Yeah, pretty much.
What'd you get into this weekend?
Nothing. Like literally nothing.
I don't believe that.
I sat at home.
That sounds suspicious.
Do you want to take some
I played
supplements?
video games. No, I don't.
There was some turmoil in the group chat, by the way.
About
Should we
what?
mention that? Big T left
Big T unfollowed us
and
on
unfollowed PFT and
Twitter.
Oh yeah, what was that for?
Oh, I did see that.
A clip I might have posted.
you unfollowed PFT
Dude,
and the page.
Oh yeah, PFT. Well, he had a bad tweet.
Due to asking me to make the tweet.
I had a bad tweet? What was
Yeah.
my bad tweet?
You wished a happy holidays on a day that wasn't a holiday.
To all those who celebrate.
Nah, bad. I refollowed. He's followed again.
Yep. Okay.
Am I
Big T
followed
follows
again?
me.
The page.
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
So, Big T, explain to me, because I know that you're all over this college football playoff thing. What's going on with Georgia fans barking everywhere?
I mean, if the people in Indianapolis didn't know that was going to be a problem, they could have called literally anybody from the South, and we could have told them that that's what was going to be happening. I love imagining someone on a plane from Atlanta to Indianapolis this weekend who just doesn't follow college football at all, because every single Delta flight from Atlanta to Indianapolis, there's a guy. My favorite video is the guy who gets it and goes, "My name's Trey, from Waycross, Georgia, class of 2018. We're going to call the dogs." And then they do their dumbass little thing, and like it's just
What kind of bark is it?
I don't do it. I don't bark as an adult, so you can go listen to them do it. But
It's like,
Like that?
yeah, it's like
That's calling the dogs. You start barking at people.
And well, they do their little chant before it too. You saw the cops show up to St. Elmo's, the steakhouse.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. They're just walking around Indianapolis, just barking at everyone.
I love the idea of a fan base getting arrested for barking.
They just like, this is another, we should never have
I
the
would love to see
national
a guy
title.
tased while barking.
It should never be in the North though. Like they don't understand. It should rotate between Atlanta, Miami, Tampa, New Orleans.
Well, that's assuming that it's all Southern teams.
It is every year.
It will be.
Well,
Yes,
you know,
and
wait
even
till-
if it's not,
It's
even
Ohio
if it's not,
State.
it's a treat for the teams from the North to come where it's warm instead of going up where it's 8 degrees and nobody, cares.
I'm just imagining like a 300-pound overweight UGA fan barking while getting tased on the floor. That is
Yeah.
quite a funny sight.
I love it. That's why I love college football, man.
It takes a special group of people to make Alabama fans look like the rational ones, but they do it.
You can't lose if you get arrested for barking at somebody.
You're a legend.
In a restaurant, but then you follow that up with a loss. That's embarrassing. You have to win. You can't be like, oh yeah, I got to go back to Indianapolis. Yeah, I don't want to go back there because we lost last time I was there, but I got a court date.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to return to that shit.
Imagine being that cop too. Like you just got to call that there's some barking going on at the steakhouse.
They're calling the dogs down
Yeah.
at St. Elmo's.
Tough.
All right, say no more. Yeah, I am rooting for Alabama tonight, though. I had a dream. I dreamt that Alabama won 30-21. So I'm going to go with that. I don't ever remember my dreams, but I'm going to roll with it tonight. And
How are you rooting for Alabama?
I'm not really rooting. I'm rooting for my dream to come true. and I'm going to bet on them. So I'm rooting for my dream and for me to have more money.
Taking a little alt spread.
I'll
How
do
much you
all
betting?
spread. Well, see, here's the thing: is I'm trying to find a sports book that'll take the bet for the exact score of 30 to 21. There are some sports books that will do it. They are not. They're not owned by Barstool, so they're a competitor. I don't know if I want to send my action to them, but I'm probably going to bet $1,000 on it. Not on the
30.
exact spread, but on an alternate line.
Like-
the best one I can find is 7.5.
You're going to take 7.5.
Alabama minus 7.5.
What's that, like plus 400 or 500?
Plus, I want to say 340. It's not that great, but I want to put my money behind my dream.
I like that.
What is the spread right now? Who's
Georgia's a 2.5 point favorite, and Bama beat them 41-24 a month ago.
So, that's what I did. Okay, so one morning I woke up and I couldn't sleep. It was like probably like a week ago, maybe, and I hadn't watched any of the bowl games, and so I rewatched it. I downloaded the ESPN app and I rewatched the Alabama game and the Georgia game. And just off of those games, I don't think Georgia can beat them. And the reason why is Georgia doesn't have an offense. They don't really have a good offense. They just rely on playing good D and solid O. Like they don't really have any playmakers on offense from the game that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see like I don't have a dog in the fight, but it just doesn't look like Georgia can hang with them.
I think both of them kept it very vanilla in those games because it was very clear after like 2 drives that neither Michigan nor Cincinnati was going to, have a real chance. Georgia, I think, is like 8th or 9th in the country in scoring offense. Like they score.
That's how you find playmakers though. Like if the game is vanilla, the playmakers are still gonna make plays. And on a Georgia side, I just didn't see anybody that can. It's like basketball almost. Like when you're looking at on somebody off, can they create their own shot? I didn't see a lot of those guys on the Georgia offense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their best, George Pickens is their best receiver, and that was like his first game back, and he only played in I think like 20 snaps or something. So
yeah, it was just one game.
I think Alabama is going to win. I think Georgia has better players on the whole. I just don't think. I think Alabama has far superior coaching and the mental edge.
Yeah,
that like Georgia just knows in the back of their mind they're not going to beat them.
Right now, Kirby Smart is staring in a mirror somewhere, just in a cold sweat.
He's terrified.
He's like, I have to play this fucking guy again. He is so goddamn scared right now. So I like my odds going with Alabama here. I am a little bit worried though that they lost one of their playmakers that was in the SEC championship game, right? Mechie got hurt.
Correct.
Or was that in the? I forget. Was that in the first round?
No, it was in the SEC title game because he didn't play against Cincinnati.
And Mechie he's not like their best wide receiver, but
second.
He's probably second best, and he's very, very good. He's not a world class speed threat, but he's the guy that kind of holds that offense together a little bit. Billy's just snorting a shitload of salt over here.
I was tired.
Yeah.
Oh, was it the smelling sauce?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a late night last night. We recorded part of my take until like 2 o'clock in the morning. Did you watch any football yesterday, Arian? Any NFL?
No, I didn't.
Did you see what happened with the night game at least when it was the Chargers and the Raiders? And so the way that it shook out was it was the standalone Sunday night game. Chargers against the Raiders. Winner gets into the playoffs. Loser goes home.
Really?
However, if they had tied, they would have both gotten into the playoffs. And so the Raiders got off to an early lead. Chargers looked like they were going to just blow it and not even have a chance. Chargers ended up coming back in the fourth quarter, tying the game. It goes into overtime. Both teams kick field goals. The Raiders now have the ball driving with about 2 minutes left. And they look like they're just going to run out the clock and not try to score because they know that if the clock strikes 0, it's a tie game, both teams get in. Mm-hmm. The Chargers knew that too. Mm-hmm. So the Chargers were obviously very happy to get into the playoffs too. But then the Chargers coach called a timeout, stopped the clock, and then the Raiders just decided with their last couple plays to try to win the game. They ran for a first down, kicked a field goal with 2 seconds left, and knocked the Chargers out of the playoffs. It was crazy because it was the teams were not trying to tie during the course of the game, but it got to a point at the end where it made more sense for the two of them to tie and to try.
Right.
Attempting that field goal at the end was risky because if you get it blocked, return the other way. The only thing that the Raiders really had to play for was if they won that game, which they ended up winning, then they wouldn't have to play against the Chiefs in the first round. So they would get to play against the Bengals instead. So there was a little bit of advantage there. But Billy was talking about the prisoner's dilemma before we jumped on this call and how that equates to like the decisions that the Chargers and the Raiders were making. But like, I have to imagine that from a player perspective, it would be almost impossible to try to tie a football game because there'd always be like one guy that wouldn't get the memo that would go a little bit harder. You know, there's so many variables that go into each play.
So hold on real quick. Did the Charger coach at the end, like his press conference, he said, yeah, I called a timeout. Did he say why he called a timeout?
I was going to ask that too. I didn't see a quote from him justifying it because it was 3rd and 4 with like 30 seconds left and the clock was running. And Vegas seemed like they were just going to run it up the middle again and let the clock run out.
That's
and
what
then he called the timeout.
He tweaked. He knew that play was the game. If they converted, they were gonna, kick a field goal. If they didn't, they were gonna run out the clock. So the Chargers coach tweaked. He thought that he had to rest his players because it was such a pivotal play.
But if they had gotten the first down, they probably just would have let the clock expire.
Yeah, I think because they needed another 5 or so yards in addition to the first down to get into field goal range. I think if they got like right across the line, they still weren't going to kick it.
Mm-hmm. I think that both coaches were kind of looking across the field at each other, just checking out the vibe and they were both feeling out the situation as it was happening in real time. Like, are we actually going to do this? Are we both going to be cool with a tie? And then when Brandon Staley, the coach of the Chargers, called his timeout, I think that rattled the Raiders a little bit.
It broke the trust.
Yeah, it broke the trust a little bit. And the Raiders was like, all right, fuck it, let's just win the game.
That's fucking wild.
Prisoner's dilemma. And then there was rumors, that they said there was players saying, yeah, we were going to kneel it on, because if they didn't convert on 3rd, they're just going to run the clock out and then take a knee on 4th and finish the whole game.
So Billy, explain the prisoner's dilemma to us.
So I was in the trenches on Twitter fighting with
Thank you for your service.
Just like guys like, well, it's not the prisoner's dilemma because there's no incentive for both of them to tie, and there's no like punishment if they both. And it was just, but basically, you had a situation where both parties. So the prisoner's dilemma is this: 2 bank robbers, a duo, both get caught, locked up in 2 different interrogation rooms.
Okay, Mad Dog and Avery.
Mad Dog and Avery
for robbing
it's
a bank.
game theory. Okay.
Game theory, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Lock them up in 2 different rooms, and they tell them, if you rat on your buddy, they'll get 20 years, you'll get 0 if they don't rat on you.
All right, so if Avery rats on Mad Dog, then Mad Dog goes away for 20 years.
And if Mad Dog doesn't snitch back.
So if Avery ratted on me, I would get 20 years.
And you stayed silent.
And I stayed silent. But if we both, the whole thing is if we both rat on each other,
so you both get fucked.
So if Mad Dog kept her mouth shut, Avery could then walk free.
And I would take the 20
and Mad
years.
Dog would take the brunt of the sentence.
Screwing Mad Dog.
Yes. So
Okay.
But wait. So if Mad Dog, if she rats on Avery back, if they both rat on each other, then
we both get 20 years.
But if you both don't say anything, you get 1 year.
And if you both don't say anything, you get 1 year. And so then there's 4 different outcomes.
You keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Basically, if you average out the outcomes on the decision, so if you choose yourself independently to rat on the other person, you have a greater chance of either getting 0 years or 5 years. Okay, we did the numbers wrong. If you both rat on each other, you get 5 years.
Okay.
If one rats on the other one stays silent, you get that person who stayed silent gets 20 years. If you both stay silent, you get 1 year. So on average, if you stay silent, you're either getting 20 or 1 years. If you add that up, 21 divided by 2 is 10.5
So in that case, if it's 5 years, then it'd be better to to just always rat on the other
always
person.
rat.
Yeah, it's not really a prisoner's dilemma in this analogy.
But
the football analogy.
it is
The whole thing is like, would you rather tie?
if you both agree to tie.
Is that
you both
us
go to the
ratting on each
playoffs.
other?
No, that's
That's
both
us
staying
staying silent.
silent. If you both try to win, then it's a 50-50 chance. So like it's a 100% chance you make it to the playoffs if you tie. There's a 50% chance if you both try. If one of you tries and one of you tries to tie, then it's a 100% chance and 0% chance. So if you average it out, you have a higher probability of winning if you try to win.
I mean, that's
And not
usually
try
how
to
it
tie.
works. Oh, okay.
I don't.
We totally butchered this whole thing.
Yeah.
I have a diagram.
I don't pay as much attention to the NFL as I do college football, but I'd forgotten until I watched last night that Rich Bisaccia was their head coach, and I knew I'd heard that name before.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and I remembered. So when Tennessee was hiring a coach after Butch Jones, they had all these text messages like in a FOIA request come out, and one of them said, wanted to let you know I just received a call from Rich Bisaccia wanting to talk with you if you're not locked in on a coach. Somebody texted that to Tennessee's athletic director. Quote, who's he? Curry responded about that was Tennessee's AD at the time, who also got fired during that coaching search. I just knew I'd heard that name before and I couldn't remember where. But there were always rumors about him because he was like Gruden's guy. So when the groomers would come up for UT, Bisaccia was always like in the mix too.
Yeah, the groomers, those were like, it was every offseason.
That was the coolest time to be in Knoxville, was the groomers of 2017.
People were just spotting
it was
John
so
Gruden
fun.
all around town.
Yeah, his wife's family lives in, Knox County and all this stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If Gruden was still the head coach, they would have tied.
You think so?
They would have tied if Staley didn't call the timeout. Like,
I don't think that Gruden would have tied. I think Gruden, he looks at that and he's like, that's anti-football pussy move.
I don't know. I was just really rooting for the tie because something like that will probably never ever happen again in football. Like it's like rooting for like the ultimate underdog to happen. And anyone who's like, oh, like, why do you want to have the tie? Like, dude, like it's cool. It's like witnessing history.
I was anti-tie
You're anti-tie
because I'm best friends with Jersey Jerry, and I didn't want him to leave. He was gonna do it.
no, he wasn't.
He was going to leave Barstool Sports if
No,
they
he
tie?
was gonna leave this earth. That's what he was threatening.
Yep. Jersey Jerry's my guy. I would never root against him. So he was upset. He was gonna cry. He was crying.
He didn't. But the Steelers weren't gonna make the playoffs if it wasn't for the Jags.
Still, I wouldn't put any evil on him.
Anyway.
There was another example of the prisoner's dilemma, or it's more game theory, and we could probably do an episode on game theory because I don't understand shit about it really, but I can.
It's why we haven't nuked each other.
Mutually assured destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's this one game show. I think it was like a British game show called Split or Steal, where you would get teamed up with a stranger, and you would have like two options that you could say, and it was for like $50,000 or something like that. If me and Billy were put in a room together, we'd each write down essentially on a piece of paper, do you want to split the jackpot or do you want to steal from the other person? And so if you both agreed to split, I think you each get 25 grand. And if one person steals from the other, then they get, I want to say like 75 grand. If they can convince the other person. So if I say that I want to steal it and Billy says he wants to split it, I get to steal it from him and I get 75 grand instead of splitting the 50 grand with him. And there was this one episode where the two guys went through this, like, because you're allowed to talk it out, but you can do whatever you want and write down whatever you want. But the point is, like, you try to trick the other person into splitting, and then you can steal it.
Screw 'em.
You can screw them over if you can build that trust. And there was this one guy that just absolutely dominated the other guy mentally, and was saying like, "You can do whatever you want on there. I'm going to steal, just so you know." And if they both chose steal, no one gets anything. So, but the guy was like giving him a heads up, like, I'm going to steal this fucking jackpot. You can trust me, and I can take the 75 grand, and then after we're done, I can break you off $40,000 or $30,000, and so I'll make it worth your while. And so just absolutely beat this guy down. And the other guy was like, can't we both please just split it? Let's just both say that we're going to split it. We'll be fine. We can take the money. I I don't feel comfortable with you saying that you're going to steal and then me having to trust you. So after like hours of going back and forth on this, they reveal what they both chose to do. They both chose to split it. So the guy was lying the entire time about the fact that he was going to steal, but he was doing that just to ensure that the other guy wouldn't also try to steal. Does that make sense? Just crazy stuff. It's like fascinating glimpse into
Why wouldn't
human
that guy
psychology.
though, just out of spite, be like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna steal it," and then we both get nothing? Because he would have gotten nothing either way, right? If the guy had actually stolen it,
Right, but the other guy was telling him, if you let me steal it, I'm going to give you half of
is
what
that
I get.
legal?
Yeah, you can make those sorts of promises, but usually when the people do it, they just take the money.
So actually, a big proponent in this and sort of huge factor, and this actually relates back to the NFL, is Ayn Rand.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Just
She's
like
fucking
I'm-
dog shit.
I know, but
Holy
the
shit.
idea, her sort of philosophy was that acting in if everyone acts in their self-interest, society functions better, and everything sort of. The funny thing is Aaron Rodgers had this book on like his bookcase.
Which one was it? Was it the Fountainhead or
Atlas Shrugged.
or something like that? Atlas
Okay.
Shrugged.
Yeah.
I've never read Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand.
She's a libertarian. She's a libertarian goddess.
I'm familiar with her work. I just haven't read it myself
Oh
personally.
shit, she's buried.
I remember one time in high school, I was taking a political science class, I think, and my teacher played an interview of Phil Donahue interviewing Ayn Rand, and I was like, "What century does he think that we're living in right now?" Like these, Phil Donahue was like, I guess he was massive in the '80s, and so was Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand, what's her name?
Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand.
She was Russian.
Yeah, she certainly was. So she thinks that everybody that acts in self-interest is good for society overall.
Well, if everyone is.
Why? Okay, explain to me like I'm an idiot. Why wouldn't that just make everybody selfish assholes?
It wouldn't. This is where libertarians and Republicans, this is like where she's like, I don't know if she's like a folklore hero, but I don't know, they love her work where she's basically saying like it's like their justification for the free market. They're saying the best of the best will rise to the top, right? If everybody just acts in self-interest, the best of the best will rise to the top. And those best of the best, because of the best of the best, they'll take care of everybody else, or they'll figure out ways to take care of everybody else. That's her thinking.
In the way in part of it's like by taking care of everyone else, they're acting their self-interest. For example, creating a product to help other people that they will profit from, but the only way they'll get profit.
It's merely profits though. Because I think she was even quoted saying, and I could be wrong about this, but she was even quoted saying like, even philanthropy in itself isn't in your self-interest, so you shouldn't do it. I'm gonna find that quote.
You know what? I've heard her say that. Before.
Like,
I think that was in the interview that I saw with her.
Philanthropy may sound like it's helping others, but really it's basically buying feeling good about yourself.
Yeah. I think I heard her say one time, like, she pulled out the old line, give a mouse a cookie and it'll ask for a glass of milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, if acting in your self-interest also includes doing good things for others, but like secretly, like, you're not doing good things for others, for other people, you're secretly doing it for yourself.
Isn't that okay though? If like doing something good for somebody else makes me feel good about myself and I like that feeling.
But you're doing it for yourself technically.
But isn't that still good? Isn't that still like
that's the argument.
Positive?
Like acting in your self-interest is good.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
if
if
everyone acts in their self-interest, if everyone
Okay, this is what she said. So basically she was saying that it should not be considered like a moral duty or a major virtue. So if she's all for billionaires not divvying up the pie, like she doesn't give a fuck. Like she thinks that it runs an antithesis of goodwill to say don't force me to do, like, it's no good. There's no good virtue in philanthropy. Like, it's basically what she's saying.
Mm-hmm. What about people that donate anonymously to things? Do they donate anonymously to charity because they know in their own mind that doing something anonymously is better, so they feel better about it themselves?
Exactly.
So it's really not that.
Yeah.
You could make the argument that it's like more self-serving to donate anonymously to something.
But this also implies that morals and like being a good person is still objectively part of like psychology, like of what's going on.
Also, if you donate anonymously, you can still like tell all your friends.
Yeah, but that's not anonymously anymore.
Yeah. So it's the is altruism pure? Can is there such thing as like does pure altruism exist? I think it does, but I think because you get something out of it doesn't necessarily negate the intent of wanting to do good. You know what I mean?
It shouldn't be a situation where it's only a good thing if you feel like shit when you do it, or if it's at personal sacrifice to you in one way.
Right. I understand the philosophical argument, but it's just I think they discount duality. Like two things could be true at once. I could feel good from it, and I could only want good from it. Just because I feel it's me feeling good is a byproduct of somebody else feeling good about it. Like, like there's an example. Because I bought a house for my mother, right? And that's a really, really weird process, right? Because what you're doing is you're allocating the budget for them for like say you're buying a house for anybody, right? What you're doing is you're allocating the budget for them to eventually feel happy in, right? And so there's a dynamic at play that says, okay, you have to feel good about where you're living, so you can veto a house that somebody else is buying for you. And that's a weird, that's like a weird dynamic. And so it's altruistic in the sense of me saying, like, say I bought somebody a house and they didn't like the house, right? Do I still feel good about buying a house for somebody that they're not happy in, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a philosophical argument, which I understand debating for the sake of debating, but I think duality is a real thing.
Yeah, I could see that being like a weird situation for your mom too. If she's looking at a house and she's got a minor misgiving about it, or she prefers maybe a different neighborhood or something like that, her having to be like, hey, I don't want this one, is that okay? Because like it's a real concern that she might have.
Yeah.
But it also probably feels awkward to voice something like that when someone else is taking care of it.
Yep, it was very weird. And so that's a conversation we had to have. It's like listen, I understand that dynamic, and so I'm doing this for you to be happy, not for me to be happy. So if you don't like it, fuck that house. Like we were almost done closing on the house, and then we went to go visit it, and she like didn't like it, but I could tell she was like hesitant. I was like, Mom, you don't fuck with this house. She's like, I just don't. I was like, fuck this house.
Well, good people are much more differential if someone else is like getting something for them.
I don't even think that's necessarily like a good or bad thing. I think like you could say that it would be polite. It would be you want to be polite to somebody, but also you have to have that conversation like Arian is talking about, where you just like get down to like the real shit and be like, hey, this is actually gonna be where you live. So it's a good time to be honest. I value your honesty more than your kindness right now,
Yeah, because then you want to be 10 years down the road, you're like miserable because you live in a house that you don't like, neighborhood you don't like. Like, you know what I mean? That's a tough, even though somebody bought it for you, it's still like, I'm not happy here. It is what it is.
Yeah. Let's do the prisoner's dilemma right now.
Okay.
Big T and Billy. Okay. Big T and Billy. I will give you $100.
Oh shit.
If you agree to
time out, are you really? This is like a real.
Yeah, no, we're gonna put this to practice here.
I bet
it's like bum fights.
$200.
All right, $200. All right, so here's what it is.
I'm in.
Okay, if you both agree to split, you will get $100 each.
Huh?
Deal.
If you but wait, or if you steal it from the other person, you get. What's the correct amount here?
I think
200.
It would be 300 if Arian's throwing in 200.
No.
It's
100 each.
No, but we have to incentivize you to want to steal.
He gets all 200.
Yeah, I don't get what the
100 each or
because you would never let him just steal the 200. How about this? All right, if you agree to split, you get $50 each. If you steal.
Oh, well, this sucks.
Wait. No, Billy, shut up. If you are able to steal from the other person, you get $200.
But then where does the other 100 go if we split?
If you know, that's the thing is like you can either choose to split $100 or you can steal and try to get $200.
That's how PFT's thing was. It was like they either got 75 or they split 50.
Yeah, so basically, Big T, if you can convince Billy to let you steal, then you can get $200, and then you can cut Billy in and give him $100, and that way you guys both double your money.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So-
Stop.
But if you both steal,
If you both steal, you get
Nobody
nothing.
gets anything.
You get nothing.
But if one of us steals, then we have 200 and we can do 100 each instead of 50 each.
Yeah, so it's up to us to split it.
To split it after the
Okay,
fact.
so we'll both text.
Well, hang on. Stop.
No,
Stop.
Don't text it. You're going to write it down on a piece of paper.
Write it down. So okay,
Can't
not-
they talk it out?
But
Yes.
talk it
Okay.
out. Talk it out.
I'm
So-
gonna split no matter what. So it's up to you to steal.
And you can't let the other person see what you're writing. That's the only rule.
Give me a piece of
okay?
paper and a pen.
yeah.
So Big T,
Can I
turn
have
away
that pen,
from
every-
Billy. I don't want you
Here's a
looking.
piece of paper.
I don't want you guys copying. Actually, I trust Big T. I don't trust Billy.
I'm literally.
Can I have a piece of paper?
Yeah, here.
So
he don't even want to split the piece of paper here.
So
okay, Billy. So let's think about this.
Wait. Billy, don't show him what you're writing down. You guys talk it out. You're missing
Yeah,
the whole point of
I know.
this
I'm
Billy,
talking out. I'm talking out.
Okay, I am going to write steal.
Okay, I'm gonna write split.
So if you write steal, you're fucking me, but you're also fucking yourself.
Right. I agree
I'm going to
split.
write steal. We're both going to get 100.
Yes. So you write split. I mean,
Not
you write
steal.
steal.
I am writing steal.
I'm splitting. I'm writing splitting. If you want to fuck me, you can fuck me. I'm writing.
I would be
Split.
fucking me.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I put the fucking on you.
Okay. So don't.
Wait, Big T, you wouldn't be fucking yourself.
Yes, I would, because I'd be getting 50 instead of 100.
No,
if I wrote
because-
split. He's writing split.
Yeah,
he says.
he says.
If I wrote split, then we each get 50. If I write steal, I get 200. I give him 100. We get 100. So I would also
Yeah,
be fucking myself.
Yeah, so I think we have to change that then. It would be if you steal and then split, then the other person splits and you steal, you get 150.
No. We're not changing the rules now.
No, we're not changing the rules. I'm splitting.
Write
I'm writing
split,
split.
because
I
if you
wrote
write
split.
because if you write steal, then we both get nothing.
I know. So I wrote split.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why we had to change it. I think we set the premise.
No. This is how the show worked.
This is how we steal from them. Come on.
No. This is,
This is how we get the money from them.
it's a psychological experiment. It's not a fucking.
I think I do is more people who aren't as like two strangers who don't really know
Yeah,
each
two
other.
strangers. I think.
I think Big T
There's
is
got to be some
irrational.
rando in the office right now, right? There's got to be some random in the office.
Yeah.
No. I want. let's
let's
finish
do this.
this,
Let's
and then
finish this.
we can do it with
No, we
randos
can't.
if we
We
want.
set the premise up wrong.
Well,
Set the
no,
premise
we
up
just
wrong.
I don't-
The premise is right there. I mean, this is more.
Do you
of a
have yours
trust-
written down?
Yeah.
I
Okay,
have
who we
mine
give
written
to?
down.
Oh wait, so the way that this is set up is
let's do this one
wait,
real
no, I'm
quick.
just reading it out loud. The decision the contestants are faced with is known as the prisoner's dilemma. In the final round, each contestant chooses between splitting the money and stealing it. If both parties choose to split, they each get half the jackpot earnings. If both choose steal, neither player gets either money. But if one contestant chooses split and the other chooses steal, the one who chose to steal gets all the money.
Yeah.
So yeah, we set it up wrong.
Yeah. It should be 100 each with split.
We set it up
Which
wrong,
is how
yeah.
we were doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay. So should we start again?
No, and also the test subjects matter because if it's two people who know each other, then more than
Yeah.
likely they're
Y'all
more
are the
likely
ones that wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
right.
get-
It was PFT. I like the experiment, but we didn't think it out.
We didn't
Yeah,
think it
but
through.
now this is us, conning you guys. So you guys
Yeah,
got
We didn't
got.
come up with this.
Yeah, you guys got. Okay, ready, Big T? Let's
So
go.
wait, are we doing it under the rules you said or under the real rules?
the real rules.
Okay, so
we're
we're
doing it
changing now.
We're
So
changing-
now
we're changing
Okay,
rules.
cross that.
Okay.
We're not doing it at all anymore. What are you talking about?
No.
No, we're too far. We're in too deep.
No,
The
yeah,
money,
yeah,
The
we're
money
doing
is still
it.
up for
All right,
grabs.
man, no, you throw them 100 if we in too deep.
You're the one that said this.
This is literal psychological
So
bum
now,
fights.
okay, so now we want to split.
Okay, so but the thing is, I'm gonna put split.
Okay.
So if you put steal, which I actually trust you're gonna put split.
I'm
just gonna
going to
split.
put split.
I'm gonna write split as well.
But if Big T puts steal, then he gets all the money.
And if you take all the
I'm not
money,
going to do that.
Okay, so let's just. I trust you. I'm going split.
Well, now I I'm trusting you, Billy.
Billy's talking you into writing Split.
No,
No. I said I was going to write Split.
No, but but
if you steal, I'm going to come for the money.
Now I feel like he wrote Steal.
No, but I'm going to come for the money if you wrote Steal. I wrote Split. I'm writing Split. I wrote Split.
I don't know that I trust him now.
Yeah, I mean it's Billy.
This is where it happened. I wrote Split. If you want to fuck me, you can fuck
Billy's
me.
got a lot of.
I don't want to fuck you. I just don't want to get fucked.
Billy's acting so.
I will do no fucking.
We know that Billy has some. He's got a lot of chickens that he has to buy.
See, here's the thing.
He's got to go to Tractor Supply.
If I. Okay, here's the deal. Here's what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take out an insurance policy.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna write Steal.
Okay.
If you wrote Split,
that's actually 100% fair.
I will give you $100.
Perfect.
If you wrote Steal, then at least I'm not getting fucked.
Yeah,
I can live with getting nothing if you also get nothing. If you wrote Split, I will give you $100.
That's totally fine.
Okay, so he definitely wrote Steal.
No.
Or definitely wrote Split.
So he's writing Steal.
Right, but you're not
As
allowed to show
insurance.
each other.
No, don't show each other.
So he actually might have wrote
I don't know what he wrote.
Split.
Why would I do that?
I know, right, Split?
Yeah.
Because you might be using the Steal as a...
just make sure that
You're
Billy
still-
does
No.
write
I'm
Split.
hedging. If you wrote Split,
Yeah.
we will still split.
Okay.
We're writing whatever you did. If you wrote Split, we will split it.
Okay.
And if you wrote Steal,
And if
then
you
you
wrote
both get
Steal-
nothing.
I wrote Split.
Okay.
But
Okay,
did
ready?
he?
I did.
Okay, show the camera.
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second. Let me just check this real quick. Okay.
He wrote Steal. I know.
No,
he did.
I wrote Split. I was just making sure I didn't write Steal by accident because they're two one-syllable S words. I was
And we
wait, I
keep
just gotta
fucking
check
with-
that.
Wait. So before you reveal, walk me through exactly what your logic is. Why?
Okay.
I want to know what's the insurance.
Okay.
I don't. understand
Okay.
insurance.
Here's the thing.
Hold on. Before you do it, I think in order for this to be a little more accurate, I think if one writes Steal and the other writes Split, they can't get the full pot, or else nothing incentivizes them if they know each other. You know what I mean? So I think if it's Steal versus Split, then it has to be.
We're just changing the rules as we go along. No.
You guys just are trying to make us not work.
as you should with a social experiment.
I think it is 70. I think it is 150.
Okay, that's the best.
If a steal happens.
That's the new. If the steal happens, it's 150 total. So 75 each.
Okay. Oh, sure.
So will you do 75 each? I wrote
Yes.
Split. So if you want to fuck me on the steal,
But then, now I want to write Split though.
well, I got Split down too.
I know. Then we each get 100 instead of 75.
I know. I kind of would like 100. It's really up to you if you want 100 or 75.
You know what?
Well, no, you want 100 or 150.
What?
Well, because
It'd be
it's not-
75 each.
but you don't have to split it.
I'm writing Split.
Okay,
He
I'm
has an
writing
insurance
Split.
policy.
Well,
But the thing is,
it's not quite as good now.
It's not seven. It's
I
not
guess it is.
100. It's not 100 or
the same.
75 for him. It's 100 or 150.
If
But it's still an insurance policy.
Actually,
Here's
this
the
is bad podcasting. Let's just reveal it.
no, no. I'm gonna write Split. I'm willing to live. You know what? I'm doing okay. Things are all right now. If you want to take the PR hit of
Yeah,
stealing,
that's what I'm thinking. It's totally not.
I
worth
don't
it.
need the $75 that bad. I'm writing Split.
Well, it's 150. You understand?
No, if we split, it's 200.
Right,
you-
but
If I stole and you split like we originally said, then it's 150.
but if you steal, you could keep 150.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
I'm not taking the
so much
PR
more
hit
money,
on that.
I
know.
trust Big T a lot. I don't know
No,
why.
Why is everyone?
No,
Big T's got you fooled, Matt.
I know. I don't
no,
know.
I don't.
He's got you
I wrote
fooled.
Split. Did you write Split?
I wrote Split.
Let's see him.
Okay,
Three,
3, 2,
two,
1. They both wrote Split.
They did it. All right. Big T did cross out Steal.
I had Steel written twice. Well, that's because that was our original plan.
Okay, good.
All right.
That was
Pleasure.
actually very nice of them.
Venmo. We'll Venmo you.
I'm gonna
I mean,
be
Cash
honest.
App.
There was a little part of me
Of course there was.
that was like, I could just switch it right now.
When he was like, you could have 150, I was like, I think I've got him pretty bad. But I was like, I'm not gonna betray his trust like that. 'Cause that's kind of
Perfect.
the guy I am.
All right.
And see, I think that is the important part, I think, of a social experiment, is if you're doing it with somebody that you know and you have to frequent, then you're
Yeah.
less likely to fuck them over.
Yeah.
But if it
never
was just a
seen him.
stranger on the street, you'd be like, I mean, I don't have to deal with these consequences.
Yeah.
I think that makes it more likely to split though, because I could tell if Billy was lying. If you were with a stranger, I would have zero trust in that person. So
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think the more money that gets involved, the more people get fucked up over it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was like $150,000 as opposed to.
Right, because that's like life changing.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, that was the prisoner's dilemma.
Ooh.
You guys are good prisoners.
My
Love
brain
that.
hurts.
You love it. Big T loves it.
Psychological bum fights.
Yeah. You know, we need to do more of these. We need to do the Stanford prison experiment. We need to recreate that one.
We can make that a whole video.
You know that was like fake, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That was a huge fraud.
I was very upset to hear that. And then we should remake the one where you do the dial that
shocking.
shocks people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if you're out there and you have any other suggestions for us for cool
Yeah.
experiments,
I think those
let
were the
us know.
same dude.
Psychological bun fights.
Yep.
I think.
Well, yeah, we should do that. We should make that a recurring theme on the show. Maybe we just get two random people from the office.
Yeah,
to
do
come
it
in
like
here.
different combos of people.
Yeah, recreate. Just have it be Nick and KB for all
Every
of them.
time. And they do the same thing every week.
This guy came up to me in the bar on Saturday and just handed me a necklace, and it said "Dead Marcus" on it.
You
And-
have a dead Marcus necklace?
And I
What
was
does that
like,
mean?
what the fuck is
You have a
this?
dead Marcus necklace?
Well, I did.
What'd you do with it?
Well, I gave it to KB. I
Oh,
gave it
yeah.
to Nick. But somebody walked up and gave me this necklace that said "Dead Marcus" on it,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Hey, KB got drunk one time and gave me this necklace in a bar, so I wanted to give it to you." And so I brought it in and I showed it to Nick. He's like, "Holy shit, where'd you get that from?" I didn't know this
It's like
was
the sisterhood of the traveling pants.
I didn't
but it's
know-
the sisterhood of the dead Marcus chain.
I didn't know it was a thing.
Is it one chain?
No.
What?
So Nick, KB, and Roan, I believe, all have a chain that says dead Marcus on it for Nick's friend Marcus, dead Marcus.
He passed
died?
away.
He died.
Oh.
If this is real, again, I don't know Nick and KB. This could all be a sham, but this is the story. And they all had chains that said say dead Marcus on them. And I think it was Roan who gave away his dead Marcus chain to someone. This is what a son of a boy dads do. They give things away that mean a lot to people. But then they were like, Nick and KB still had their dead Marcus chain. And they were like, well, what are we going to do now? The three of us don't have the dead Marcus chain. Someone's just out there with the dead Marcus chain. You are a beacon of hope and were given the dead Marcus chain, and then you gave it back, and now the earth has like
It's complete?
restored has restored its like peace.
Oh shit! Well, yeah, I had no idea.
That's crazy,
I had no
actually.
idea about any of this. But this one guy was like, "Here's KB's dead Marcus train," and
It's like they talked about it on the Yak.
I had no idea what that meant
That's
when he
sweet.
said that to me. And I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, I guess I'll give this back to KB."
Yeah.
And then Nick absconded with it when I brought it back into the studio.
What's that word?
Absconded?
Yeah.
It's a great word that just means like stolen, ran away with.
Oh. Yeah. But
To-
that's
to
actually
abscond.
really funny. They talk about it on the Yak all the time, dead Marcus.
Hmm.
And anus.
All right. R.I.P. Like take a moment of silence. R.I.P. To the mouse that I had in my apartment that ate an entire weed brownie and died.
It came to my apartment. I had a mouse this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if it was high, but I had a mouse
It
this
probably
morning.
was.
It probably was.
Yeah. It's impossible to get rid of mice in New York because they can just get in through any tiny little crack. And I keep a pretty clean apartment for the most part.
Yeah.
But you can't ever keep mice out.
I also live above a Chinese restaurant, and I don't think that helps my case.
Probably not. A lot of
But
food
yo,
down there.
Yeah.
Real RIP though. Bob Saget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Bob Saget
since
passed.
we've been recording this, Robert Durst died.
Fuck that.
Not R.I.P. to that.
Not
guy.
R.I.P., but he died.
Who's Robert
A
Durst?
killer.
He's a serial killer.
He was Beretta, the TV detective, right? And he killed his wife and then admitted to killing his wife. I think he also killed his landlord.
And his
Dogs.
business partner.
Mad Dog. That's not an RIP. What you talking about, man?
No, no. I didn't say R.I.P. I just say he died while we have.
Wait, did you say
Fuck
Fred
that,
Durst?
Robert Durst?
Yeah, Robert Durst. You didn't say Fred Durst,
No.
did you?
No,
Okay.
Robert Durst, the guy from the Jinx.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy from the Jakes. Who's Fred Durst?
Oh my God. Mad Dog.
Wasn't he? I remember him in Eminem's song. You hear Margo over who we gave head to first.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it.
I don't know who that
He's,
is though.
Singer Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. That's right though. Sit next to Carson Daly and Fred Durst. Listen to him argue over who she gave head to first. Fred Durst was also on a track with Method Man. In Together Now. That was embarrassing for Fred Durst to have to go toe to toe with Method Man. I felt bad for Method Man actually. He had to do that song. But yeah, so no R.I.P. to Robert Durst. That guy sucked.
Also R.I.P. to Sidney Poitier. A lot of deaths this weekend.
Oh my God.
Facts.
Who?
It was a rough.
Sidney Poitier
weekend,
was the
bro.
first black man to win an Oscar.
Oh.
Great actor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, 2022 sucks, huh? We're
Yeah.
losing all
Betty
our
White.
heroes.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Did you ever get to meet Bob Saget?
Nah, never met him.
A few people around the office have had a chance to meet him, interview him. Everyone loved him. He's apparently a very nice, funny guy, kind guy, kind of guy you want to be around. Danny Tanner, America's dad. Yep. So nobody else is allowed to die in 2022. We've lost Billy's chickens. I don't know if we can handle anything else, but yeah. Also, RIP to the mouse that died. I would highly recommend. Like, that's a great way to kill a mouse. People are always talking about the most ethical ways to kill a mouse. Load it up on chocolate and THC.
I thought you couldn't overdose on marijuana.
But I think they can die of chocolate poisoning. And I mean, the amount of THC that this mouse had,
Yeah, it's a mouse.
for its body weight is just astronomical.
But-
It probably had
Dogs can too. I didn't know that. Dogs can die of too much chocolate.
yeah.
But like a
Chocolate,
lot.
blueberries are really bad for dogs.
Usually they puke it up before they actually die from it.
Grapes. Actually, no, it's grapes. Grapes and raisins can kill a dog really easily. People don't realize
Good
that.
to know. It's good to know. It's great to know.
Yeah, but I had a pop brownie in my apartment. Don't know how it got there. Called the police to come take it away. By the time they got there, the mouse had eaten the entire thing, and just passed on into a better place. What a great way to go out if you're a mouse, though. It's high as fuck.
That's my ideal way to go out. It's like some impending doom and me saying fuck it and just taking like massive amounts of LSD.
There you go.
Getting up out of it. Even I'm not sure if you can overdose from it, but I'll try.
I saw Don't Look Up on Friday night.
Oh, I didn't like that movie.
It was. I just thought it was interesting because the way that they took a subject that we're probably going to have to deal with at some point in the, hopefully not near future, but at some point a comet is going to hit the Earth, and if it was discovered, like, how would people react to it?
Did you get the allegory though?
Yes, they beat you over the fucking head
Yeah,
with the allegory.
it's so in your face.
Yeah.
It's like
No,
so-
tell us, Billy, what were they really talking about in the movie? Hold on. Did y'all see Ready Player One?
No.
Haven't seen
What
it yet.
was with the disrespect? I don't understand. Man. Like, what's that? How y'all really feel about me, dog?
You gotta give us a little bit more direction. Tell us what streaming service it's on.
Go to fucking Google
I'll tell you.
and fucking look up what streaming service is on.
Dude,
Dog.
I'm
I think
sorry.
I think it's on HBO Max, I believe.
It's on
Spielberg.
Hulu.
Yeah.
It's on Hulu. I think it's on HBO Max as well.
Okay, I will
But-
watch it.
It's just such a good movie. I think it's an actual better movie than Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up
Oh, yeah.
I thought the individual performances were good. The plot is just like, I get it.
It's a really like, if you don't take it so seriously, I could see people enjoying it more. But it literally was just like,
So in your face.
It tries to do satire, but you can't be that blunt when you're doing the satire. Wasn't like smart or witty. It was just like
They just like repurposed
it was
real
like
life.
yeah,
Like the
it-
MAGA hats.
no, that was the whole point was to try to like, you
Yeah.
know, like
Yep.
the modern.
I got that part.
it was
but-
like, look at Jonah Hill. He's basically
Donald Trump Jr.
Donald Trump Jr. Yeah.
Look at this weird, creepy, like old man that is really into technology. He's a
That
mix.
guy gave me more Joe Biden vibes.
No,
That
he
guy
was a mix.
Elon.
Elon.
No,
I looked it up.
Elon
He was a
Musk.
mix. He was a mix of Elon, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg.
Right.
he
tech-
gave me
big tech.
way. He gave me way more like Joe Biden, like talk softly, weirdly vibes.
I just think he was like the weird tech guy.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, definitely like maybe on the spectrum
Yeah.
tech guy. I mean, the Joe Biden was. I understand why you would say
I
that.
think it was
He kind of
made-
looks like
'Cause he
Joe
looks
Biden.
honestly,
like
you
him.
could tell. I didn't. I was trying to figure out if it was COVID. Like, oh, we didn't like.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they wrote.
No, I think it was global warming.
Well,
that
it's
they-
kind of.
It was-
They
it was
wrote.
both.
They
It was
wrote the
both.
movie, and started filming the movie before COVID happened, like early like early 2020, late 2019.
Yeah.
So COVID wasn't a thing when they first wrote the movie. And so I think originally it's probably about climate change. And then I think Adam McKay saw this like perfect opportunity and probably switched up parts of it to make it more like COVID-y.
It's just, I think the overall is like the science, what they would call science denial in general is what it's predicated off.
I just don't like movies like that where they're so in your face about like, this is a mirror of real life. I'm like, I've been living this.
Right.
Like, this isn't entertainment. This is just what I've been watching for, 2 years or whatever.
And it was a type of satire that I think was designed. It's not designed to like make people really think. It's just designed to make people feel good about what they already believe in.
Because then they're like, if you didn't get the movie, like, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, like somebody watches it and they're like, yep, I'm a good guy. I'm laughing at all the bad guys.
I'm the Leonardo DiCaprio in this movie.
I'm one of the good ones. Although Leonardo DiCaprio, real piece of shit. I hate it when they do that to a character. Like I thought that I liked him at the start, and then just out of nowhere he starts cheating on his wife.
Yeah.
And then it's like not a big deal later. Yeah.
And also there's like 7 plot lines in that movie that just don't like finish.
Yeah. I thought Jennifer Lawrence did a good job though.
And I thought Jonah Hill was really funny in it.
I mean, you stopped liking him in the movie because he was cheating on his wife?
I was very disappointed in
It
his
makes
character.
you want to.
Yeah. Because I also felt like he didn't get punished in the movie for it.
No, they're just like, well, we're gonna die anyways.
Yeah.
But she also said, I cheated on you.
Yeah, when they were dating in college. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like when a character does something like that, I want to see it pay off. I want to see him suffer a consequence to that.
Well, he died.
I mean,
Well, so did she.
It's a movie. You also don't know the dynamics of their relationship. Like maybe she wasn't doing something that wasn't satisfying. You don't never know.
That's true. That's very true.
She got advice from Alex Cooper.
I don't think I'd ever seen the lady that played his wife before in a movie. And then, like, the very next day, I started watching Yellow Jackets, and she's one of the main characters.
What is
in
that
Yellow
show?
Jackets.
I've heard about that a lot.
It's about a high school soccer team that gets into a plane crash on their way to nationals, and how they kind of evolve into a Lord of the Flies type situation.
So it's like kind of like Lost.
It's Lord of the Flies with women.
Yeah.
I didn't ever.
How does that? I got.
And there's some guys. There's some people in it. Some men in there.
Aren't they like teenagers or something?
Yeah, it's a high school soccer team. It's very intense. If you, it's not really for someone who's squeamish. If you don't like blood, I wouldn't watch it.
Oh, I'm out.
There's a lot of surgeries that are performed without any sort of anesthesia. Just pretty brutal. It's very good though. I like it. Anyways, that's Yellow Jackets. That's my review of Yellow Jackets.
Lord of the Flies was a pretty dope book.
I would like to recreate Lord of the Flies in the Barstool office.
I've never read it.
Should we just put everyone in Barstool and put them on an island?
Yeah, actually we should.
We just do Surviving Barstool, but like real life.
Yeah, like actually,
Yeah.
bunch of trail cams.
Is Little St. James up for auction?
No murder.
Oh wait, Lord of the Flies sounds like a good book.
It's a great, like.
You've never read Lord of the Flies?
No,
You went to
I
an
didn't read
all-girls
it, but I
Catholic
saw
school?
that
I did go
movie
to an all-girls
in the
Catholic
90s.
Is it something that you read in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Then I wouldn't have read it. Like this wouldn't have been a book that would have come across me.
All right,
Bro,
let's,
watch Ready Player One, bro.
we will watch Ready Player
I'll,
One.
I'll clear my schedule.
Billy's clearing his schedule.
Oh, this is going to clear his schedule.
All right, let's get into Big Pharma. Let's talk about Big Pharma because Billy's got all the facts
Well, I
ready
think
to unload.
Big Pharma, I mean, when you think about Big Pharma, I sort of really got into like there's a lot of Big Pharma conspiracy theories, like some of them being, HIV, AIDS, denialism, old anti-vax. Like I want to talk about, let's not talk about the COVID vaccine and everything. I want to talk about old anti-vax.
Like where they thought that it was going to give their kids autism?
Yeah, like
Anti-vax
1990s.
1.0.
Yeah,
Like 98 anti-vaxxers.
1990s, like OG anti-vaxxers.
That Jay Cutler shit.
Yeah.
I'm a 90s anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, like the people, anyway, because it's a lot of cool, I mean, not cool, but just like interesting, like GMO conspiracies.
All right, let's take it one at a time. So when we talk about Big Pharma, I think it means something different depending on what country and what type of healthcare system you grow up in.
Mm.
In the United States, big pharma is like kind of a catch-all just for any drug company out there, because we live in a weird society where companies they optimize everything for profit, even sometimes when your entire company's line of business actually means that you're going to make more money if people get sicker and die sometimes. So people don't trust pharma in this country. I think for good reason overall.
Most large pharmaceutical production companies originate in Germany. Just want to preface.
That's where they made Pervitin, that meth. That's where
Yeah.
they invented methamphetamine, I think. But yeah, so people don't really trust big pharma. Big T, what are your thoughts on, just in general, just baseline on big pharma or the healthcare system in this country?
You have to be more specific than that.
How do you think that the U.S. How would you compare? I won't even make you compare because I don't know where else you've been. But what's your overall satisfaction with healthcare in the United States? Scale 1 to 10.
10.
You love your healthcare.
I think
come on.
I think it's the best system in the world.
Okay. No.
10.
No.
All right, so I don't want to pile on Big T, but like it's pretty objectively not the best
Why?
healthcare system in the world.
Why?
Well, because people go bankrupt on a daily basis through no fault of their own because they have to get medical procedures done. I think that's pretty bad. I think that's a bad thing.
That you're able to get those procedures here, and that's not the case a lot of places.
But there are a lot of other places where you can get
Like
all
like
the
where
procedures
England,
that you need.
But they're literally not allowed to get, or not able to get those procedures, which is why they're going bankrupt.
Sometimes people have to make a decision. What can they afford? People die because they don't get insulin.
but like go try to get a surgery in England, and then tell me
I think
What
that you
happens?
can. I think that
in a few years.
I think the NIH is like, if you did a poll of people in England right now, I think that the approval for NIH is extremely high.
Okay, let's actually take a step back. We're talking about healthcare when we're really supposed to be talking about big pharma. Let's talk about the corporate side of
Okay.
everything. We can maybe in another episode get into healthcare systems, but drug companies for a long time have sort of tried to, maybe as we live in a capitalistic society, put profits and revenue above actually developing drugs that actually help. Like, for example, profit strategy has become above overall wealth and healthcare for distribution of medicines in the country.
A lot of times companies they'll invent a problem.
Yeah.
And then they'll convince everybody that they have that problem now. And only their drug can solve whatever that problem
like
is.
in the US is one of the only countries where you can advertise different medications, be it antidepressants, sleep medication, all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of
Real quick, there's a big point. Like, the more infuriating part is it's tied to what both of y'all just said, is that the overwhelming majority of pharmaceutical companies spend more money on marketing than they do research and development, and that's fucking insane, dog.
I remember when I was in college, I went to James Madison, which is not a small school, but it's not like a massive school. But one of their biggest departments that they had, one of the biggest majors there, was pharmaceutical sales. You could major in becoming a pharmaceutical salesperson.
yeah.
And if you took one look at that class, it was all the most attractive women that I have ever seen. Like it was crazy. You walk past that wing of the ISAP building, and it was just nothing but super attractive girls that were learning how to get their way into doctors' offices. And I know actually a few people that ended up becoming pharmaceutical reps there, and they get like $80,000 a year to buy clothes. It's just like it's just get your foot in the door, flirt with a doctor.
There's an endemic of doctors having affairs with pharmaceutical reps.
Oh yeah,
I've heard about several instances of that happening.
I was talking to Big Cat about it the other week because we were talking about the series Dope Sick, which is really good. I would recommend watching it. But he was saying, because I was telling him about my experience when it was just the entire major was just hot chicks. It was like, are you a hot chick? Good, you're going to be a pharmaceutical sales rep. And Big Cat was saying that one of the jobs that he applied for out of college was to become a sales rep for one of these companies. And he made it to like the last round, and they were like, hey, here's the deal. Unless you're a very attractive woman or you played Division I football at a big school, then we're probably not going to hire you, because those are the only people that can get to talk to doctors. Because you can be like, hey, I played linebacker at Notre Dame. And they'll be like, oh, cool, you want to talk? Like, that's kind of how it works.
Huh. Do you think nowadays there's more hot dudes getting through in these sectors?
I hope
Because
so.
I think there's actually more female doctors graduating nowadays.
Yeah.
Actually, women in general have just been killing it and getting degrees. Dudes are really slacking.
Yeah, women.
Shout out women. Billy just
Shout out
Shout out
women.
women. No, it's been translating. I read this article about how there's so many women with college degrees in New York City, and there's so little men. Like the ratio in New York City of men with college degrees to females with college degrees is so disparity. There's such a disparity that it's causing a serious problem in the dating scene.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Women don't want to be out there slumming.
that's the issue.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's also, I feel like New York City has way more women than
Yeah,
guys.
that's like a. Let me look at
If
the
only-
disparity.
If only
So
there
does
was
the
an app.
world.
I think it's Sex in
Yeah.
the City. I think that it was like a recruiting to get
There
people
should,
to.
there should be an app that tells you
It's
what the
53
ratio is like. Billy.
53% female in New York City. So not like a crazy.
Anyway,
But yeah, so
hot dudes.
hot dudes, that's a growth market.
Yeah,
if you're a
for
hot
drug
dude
reps.
out there and you want to get a high paying job,
The hot dudes have been put down for so long in America. It's time that they get up.
Yeah.
and that's the thing is like
Hot dudes, we up.
being a pharmaceutical sales rep, you get paid a good amount of money coming right out of college.
Well,
So-
this is what happened with another topic that we could peruse is opioids. The opioids crisis, Purdue Pharma, the Sackler family. I mean, Donnie was read about the Sackler family. I think he actually probably would have some great stuff to say about it. Basically, the development of the drugs OxyContin and its affiliates and stuff like that. Basically, the opioid crisis in this country is terrible. What's happened? Basically, opioids were being pushed like Advil under these 12-hour pain. Okay, let's settle down and get back to the basics. It all started when Purdue Pharma developed the drug
He worked
OxyContin,
himself up right
which
there.
was
Yeah,
which
nobody
was
else was talking. It was just him.
no, it's fine.
I know,
Yeah,
but
no,
So,
my mind.
so settle down.
Everybody calm down.
it's good. No, that's good self regulation by Billy. I want to encourage. that behavior.
Sometimes I feel myself go like Alex Jones, like, oh my God, they took the drug and they gave it to all the people in America. They sold them.
Yeah, I like it.
But
Billy.
my brain, but like, I gotta organize my thoughts because I'm here thinking about like, we have a cure for cancer, but they're hiding it, and
all right. Now you got to dial yourself back in. You're starting
AIDS
to get excited.
isn't real. You know,
They've
like-
admitted this.
Again. Yeah, I got the documents. I got the documents right here. UN said that globally they're trying to get rid of 8 billion people.
Purdue Pharma,
All right, so
Purdue Poultry.
So Purdue Pharma, owned by the Sackler family. Sackler family is one of the biggest philanthropist families in the world. It's a bunch of rich people that own this company privately. So a lot of people think that Purdue Pharma, like a lot of the other pharma companies, is a company that you can buy and trade on stock exchanges. You can't. It's privately held, which means that they're able to keep a lot of things secret. So they wanted to unveil a new pain medicine because they obviously there were some addiction issues around Percocet, Vicodin.
It was completely marketed as synthetic morphine that did not have the same addictive properties as actual, natural opioids.
Yeah, more natural, like morphine,
Yeah.
heroin, obviously very addictive.
So
Percocets are also addictive.
basically, they went to doctors, and this is why, honestly, I have a problem with, we can get into this later, but trusting the science, because a lot of these drugs that are developed, and it's not like you have a bunch of doctors basically be like, oh, this is the correct treatment, but you have companies lobbying salespeople taking these drugs to doctors and being like, oh yeah, use this new drug. There's kickbacks. If you prescribe this much of the drug, you can get this. You can get a trip to, there's a lot of kickbacks to these drug salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
They promise if you start prescribing this much of the drug, you get kickbacks.
The salespeople, they work on commission, like sales in almost every other industry. So it's natural that anybody that's a salesperson is going to hear the messages from their manager, hear the benefits of why you should be selling more of this, and they're just going to repeat that to the doctors because they're not pharmaceutical salespeople are not doctors. They're not medically trained. They probably have a little bit of biology in their background, but they definitely don't. They're not medical doctors, so they'll get rabbit ears and hear the best thing that their manager tells them. They'll take that straight up to the doctor and parrot those talking points, but nobody is really doing deep fact checking on any of the stats that they're bringing up or any of the studies. It's basically Billy walking into your office and be like, there's this new study out that just says that this pain medicine kicks ass.
But exactly. But then we find out that a lot of these opioids, even if you don't have an addictive personality, like I wrote a bunch of articles, a bunch of papers on this in college. And basically opioids had the ability to take people who had never touched a drug in their life, priests, teachers, grandmothers, people who never had any sort of history of substance abuse, and literally rewired their dopamine reward system and psychological affinity to substance seeking and cause them to become addicts because of how the drug worked. This thing took literal priests and people who never even touched alcohol, smoked, or anything, totally good people, and turned them into absolute junkies.
No. Addicted people who are addicted to drugs doesn't mean bad.
Right.
You said people who were good.
But
now
that causes there's now a sympathy for these opioid users who are addicted because they started from a place where, be it an 18-year-old who tore their ACL in football, high school kid gets prescribed opioids and totally derails their whole life. That's the type of stuff you're dealing with.
Yeah, but I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, so,
I was going to go off into another tangent.
I agree with what Arian's saying, that like somebody being addicted to drugs doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It doesn't mean that necessarily they're to blame for anything. Sometimes the circumstances put them in that situation. I do think that there is a difference, though. When someone goes to see their doctor and their doctor prescribes them something, you're supposed to be able to trust your doctor. And you're supposed to think that your doctor is going to do something that's in your best interest. And so when a doctor gives you something that's actually poison and you get into an addiction problem that way, I think that it touches people that maybe would not necessarily be touched by addiction if they weren't put in that situation, which is why like it's become such a widespread issue with the opioids, because I think society has a tendency to write off people that get addicted to whether it be alcohol or drugs on their own. But it kind of brings the issue of addiction to more of a like front of your mind if it's happening to people that got it from their doctor.
The narrative was always that everyone who's using drugs and dying of opioid overdoses somehow deserved it by some means. That was the overall narrative that was being pushed. But really, if you look at the numbers, people who are getting addicted to opioids, the only crime was listening to their doctor. And then they got involved in withdrawal symptoms after 1 or 2 doses of the drug, causing them to want to take more, which the speed in which their body became acclimated and physically addicted to the substance was so fast, and basically created addicts out of people who were nowhere close to being what the narrative supposed drug addicts, opioid addicts were.
See, and the reason why I don't really like the premise is because there's a lot of underlying classism in what you're saying. And so because you keep saying, and I'm not saying this is you, right? This is society, right? And so you keep saying the narrative of what drug addicts are supposed to look like or supposed to. And the reason why the opioid epidemic has been addressed or at least acknowledged way faster and dealt with in an entirely different way is because of the class that it is affecting. It's affecting people who you wouldn't normally fall in it, which is higher class people, the priests, the teachers, the people who don't necessarily look like they're supposed to be doing drugs, which is an entirely different conversation. But it's an important point to hammer home that a lot of these pharmaceutical companies are actually Fuck, I totally lost my point right there. God damn it. CTE is starting to kick in. Go ahead, bro.
No, you're good. I think that like the way that it was introduced to the market was just like so. It makes me pretty mad because like when they introduced OxyContin, they sent it to like the poorest places in America.
That's what I was trying. That was my point. I was trying to get down.
They 100% have risk calculators and insurance adjusters that help them make these decisions of where they're going to be trying out new products to make sure that they minimize their risk of any lawsuits. Because if you get a bunch of poor people addicted and some people die, the chances of them being able to hire a good lawyer and sue you and make money off you and ruin your business are very, very low. There's a reason why they're not trying out these drugs in lower Manhattan. They're trying them out in the poorest cities in West Virginia and Kentucky, and because they know that they can get away with it, and to a large degree they have. So they like destroyed a lot of Appalachia, like absolutely crushed it. There's so many places in Western Virginia and West Virginia that you don't want to be anymore. It's just depressing as hell walking around because the addiction has just taken over the entire community.
And the thing is, these incentives that the drug companies put out, and these salespeople, went to doctors and said, if you prescribe this pill this much, you can get this much kickbacks, be it cash incentives, trip incentives. I think cars were involved, like almost, but for example, there was a pharmacy called Tug Valley Pharmacy in West Virginia that was prescribing thousands, almost millions of opioids a day.
Yeah.
And the doctor was just using his prescription pad and writing off prescriptions, and was doing it so much that he was getting an insane amount of kickbacks, and it incentivized the doctors to disseminate these pills into these neighborhoods. And you had places, people rolling up day after day, drive through pharmacies of people picking up pills.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Two. One, do doctors still get kickbacks now for prescribing drugs?
I'm pretty sure it's illegal to get kickbacks for prescribing drugs.
Okay.
I think that's something that
that just seems so bad.
There are other ways that you can kind of get around it. So you can bring doctors in on speaking tours, and all the speaking locations that they go to just happen to be in really nice vacation destinations.
Oh.
And then they get, their trips paid for, things like that.
Through a drug company?
Yeah, golf weekends that are expensed, things like that.
So incentives, but not like a kickback of
Not
sales.
a kickback in terms of sales. You can't do that, but they find their ways around it sometimes.
Okay. And then this might be dumb, but when this was all happening, like in the Appalachia region, did doctors know? I mean, obviously, yeah, but like, did doctors know like the grip that this could have on people?
I think some of them probably did. Some of them had an idea about it because it was still an opioid, and Percocet, Vicodin, morphine, all the stuff that they had been prescribing in the past. They knew that was
I mean, they
addictive.
know that's addictive.
This was labeled as being not as addictive, but I think they probably had, some of them had some idea. Some of them probably didn't and fell for it. But I know we've talked about it on this show a little bit, but if you've ever been prescribed an opiate for pain, if you had a surgery or something like that,
like morphine or something,
it feels good. It feels really good to take it.
Didn't Arian say like his favorite feeling of all time is being on morphine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did say that.
Yeah. I mean, it hits every pleasure receptor that you have.
I say I've never like taken any of them.
Yeah. I always I try not to take them.
Yeah.
But if I get them prescribed, I'll be like, okay, this will be fun for a couple nights. But no, I mean, like if you're recovering, like when I was recovering from kidney stones, they gave me, it was like it was a weak version of Percocet. I forget the milligrams, but I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to be feeling good for the next like 18 hours as I take these drugs.
Yeah, I don't advocate people. Yeah, I don't advocate people take pain pills at all.
No.
But from my perspective, every time I've ever had a surgery or anything like that, I've always gone there with the intent of like, after this, you cannot take this shit no more. Like, because it feels amazing. It's euphoria in a little pill. It's euphoria in a little shot. It is what it is. But I think I always just set my intentions. Like, I'm not gonna take these after this.
Yeah,
And luckily it's worked out. But I think everybody's different. Everybody's brain chemistry is wrapped up different, and
Right.
and this is why I'm quick to call or just kind of reverse the narrative of people that are bad people that get addicted, because literally your brain chemistry is different. And so if you get hooked on some of this stuff, you literally your body goes through withdrawals, starts to shake, start to sweat, like shit like that. It works. You can't control that, and it's a real thing, which is why I used to not think that way about addiction until I started like reading up on it. This was years ago, and the people that are involved and the people it affects, it's like it's like a mental hurdle that people really struggle with,
and physical too. You're right. Like you feel like you're gonna die when you're coming down off it. I think alcohol, you can actually die from withdrawals from alcohol. If you try to just like go completely cold turkey, that can be really bad for you. I think
most hard drugs, you have to get weaned off.
Yeah, benzos for sure. If you're addicted to benzos, you have to wean yourself off those, because you can very easily have a seizure and die if you're coming down off that. But yeah, there were years and years and years when even after they introduced some of these powerful painkillers, that they knew that they were addictive. 100% knew. They knew that people were dying from them at a crazy rate, but they just kept selling them. And even worse, they kept selling more of them.
And then when they couldn't get the pills anymore, they switched to street heroin, which is caused so many overdoses because that stuff's unregulated. There's no consistency with the product. So people.
So I feel like we're all in agreement. Most people should probably like know that the Sackler family are pieces of shit that killed tens of thousands of people.
And the worst thing is like Johnson & Johnson just had a settlement with New York State over their opioid production and dissemination, and they got sued and they paid about like I think $250 million. But that's just basically almost like a cost of doing business when you had billions of dollars of revenue.
All right, here's a stupid question. Big T, maybe you can help me understand this. But if companies are getting investigated by the federal government for doing things like false advertising, selling dangerous drugs that kill tens of thousands of people, if you're getting investigated by the government and you are in a position where you're probably going to be found guilty if it goes to trial, why are you allowed to just pay the government $200 million and just be like, hey, okay, we're done here, right? What's the difference between that and just bribing somebody for getting away with murder?
First of all, I'd like to revise my answer to your previous question. I think I'd say I'm an 8, not a 10.
Okay, you're an 8 out of 10. What are you? Wait, there's got to be some specific thing.
What the fuck is he talking about?
There's some specific inconvenience that you've had that brought you down to an 8.
No, I think it's just like I think people will hear that and be like, "Oh, that's ridiculous." I do think I don't think there's a much better way to have a healthcare system than what we have. I think there's a reason the best doctors are here and the ones who aren't come here. I think there's a reason that we have, some of the best medical research in the world and all sorts of shit like that. But there are certainly things that, suck. Like I think a lot of the stuff we're talking about today and shit like that. So what was this question about bribing?
Yeah, like how can you always hear about companies being able to pay the government $100 million because they're getting investigated for their role in, the addictions of 6 figures worth of people and having a bunch of them die? And if you're getting investigated for committing crimes, how are you able to just straight up pay them money and then it goes away and nobody ever has to go to jail?
I have no idea. I don't know why. Why does that fall on me?
I'm just curious because that's part of the healthcare system in this country, where if you fuck up and you get a bunch of people addicted to it and kill some of them, you can just pay money and it goes away. I feel like that's not a great way to set it up.
Do you want people to go to jail, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah. I think
okay. I'm not opposed to that. I don't know what you want my answer to be. I don't care.
Okay.
If you're found directly responsible for like killing people, then yeah, you should go to jail.
Mm-hmm. I also think that I don't know. We can talk forever probably about opioids because that is a pretty big problem. But there's other parts of big pharma that we can get into a little bit. I actually think that sleeping pills are a conversation that we as Americans need to have along the lines of the opiate epidemic. It's not killing as many people, obviously, But a lot of sleeping pills are marketed as not being addictive, and they 100% are very addictive. And people like taking sleeping pills and getting up and driving, and like it'll fuck you up if you stay on Ambien for a long time. I personally know people that have developed bad Ambien problems, and they're not the same. Like it affects your brain, it affects your entire life once you get hooked on that.
Even in waking hours?
Yeah, because sometimes you'll take it, and when you wake up, the Ambien's still in your system. And so sometimes the first couple hours of your day, just from my personal experience, I don't think I've ever taken Ambien, but I did take Zoloft. I took half a pill, and I took it at 10 o'clock at night. Woke up at around 8 o'clock in the morning. Didn't feel like myself until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I tried it again, just taking half one. Same feeling. I was like, this sucks. I don't like this. But I do know people that are taking Ambien where you can tell that for the first half of their day, they're still fucked up.
Melatonin's also sneaky, extremely addictive.
Is it?
Well, because it's a hormone. It shuts down your own
It
production.
depletes your own melatonin supplies. So then if you take melatonin every night for like a year and then you stop taking it, your body doesn't have that same...
It's a shutdown. It's like testosterone.
Yeah. I didn't know that because I've taken melatonin a couple times over the last month.
If you take it like off and on, then you're fine. But if you take it consistently, your body won't know how to produce it itself anymore. And then you won't be able to sleep by yourself.
I noticed that when I wake up after I've taken melatonin, my breath stinks really bad.
That's just you, dog.
Yeah, I just got fucked up breath.
Yeah. Yeah, so it says melatonin has shown no addictive properties, but
not addictive, but
taking too much can decrease the body's natural production and make it rely on getting melatonin from supplements instead of making its own.
That's a tough argument for Billy's supplement gang.
What, the depleting? Oh, I didn't give him melatonin.
Well, no, but if you give him other things that his body can produce naturally.
Well, I didn't. I gave him only. So what you probably need to stop taking is Tribulus Terrestris, which is it's a shrub found in Siberia that's supposed to increase your testosterone.
Why am I eating a Siberian shrub?
Bro, I just got my shipment in. What the fuck?
Well, it works. I mean, anything that's... Anyway. But, yeah. What's everyone's favorite sleeping concoction of, like, over-the-counter things?
Or my favorite sleeping concoction?
I like
sleepy time tea.
Yeah, sleepy time tea.
I've only taken melatonin. I've never taken anything else.
Like a nice ZzzQuil or NyQuil.
Yeah, there's a concoction.
What's
CBD.
the concoction you're thinking of?
Well, the thing is, like, when I really need a good night's sleep, like, let's
preface this with you don't think that anybody else should do this.
Oh, no, yeah.
You just said a sleep time concoction, which means you're mixing a whole bunch.
You know when you like
Billy's making Sleeply.
When I don't sleep like several nights in a row, like let's say like finals, and it's like you're finally done and you've been up late studying all the time, and you really need to get a good night's sleep, but you're like your mind's racing because you haven't slept well, and you like it's almost hard for you to sleep because you're overtired. Melatonin, heavy CBD, and then like a little bit of NyQuil, and you just go out.
Edibles always do the trick for me too.
Well, for people who marijuana makes them go crazy.
Or people who are just following the law.
Who just like tweaked out.
Yeah.
I like warm milk. Sleepy time tea.
Sleepy time tea.
Which has
warm milk.
Yeah, warm milk, little warm milk. Sleepy time tea has valerian root in it. And valerian root is something that people use to make tea and other things. Like it's an herbal supplement. It's also got the core ingredient of Valium in it, which is where that's the root.
Well, Valium's the synthetic concentrated version, like valerian root. They took the chemical in it and then made synthetic and then just gave a huge dosage.
Yeah,
that's what Valium is.
So if you drink a shitload of sleepy time tea, you're basically on Valium.
Also, sneaky. You know what's actually way more addictive than people think? Kratom.
Is it?
That's we need to get KB to talk about that. KB got addicted to Kratom.
Did he really?
He did.
He talked about it and he was like, it's because it's what people who are addicted to heroin take to get off heroin. KB just started taking it in massive quantities and would just get like rage cage and go crazy.
What?
Is that what's in bison?
No, that's a different thing. He just also likes bison.
They
meat.
were going crazy about bison recently.
Yeah, no, but he will go to well, if he's not in New York, he'll go to gas stations, or you can go to like CBD stores and they sell Kratom. And he would go, and usually someone will take a vial over like a week and a half. He would just take a vial all at once.
Mhm.
Why was he doing this?
So I took
don't know.
Kratom over the summer one time at the beach house. I got one of the shots of it, and I had half one, and I was like, well, I'm not doing this again because it feels like you're on an opiate. It really does. Like you get the exact same like body feeling.
I was gonna say we can ask KB why he did it, but yeah, no, it's a synthetic heroin basically,
Mhm.
Well, it's not
Correct.
synthetic.
or not synthetic. What's
It's
that
an
word?
alternative.
Alternative.
It's
Yeah.
from a plant that's closely related to coffee.
Yeah, so it's got stimulant properties in it too.
Yeah.
in
Yeah, because
addition.
KB would talk about how he would just get so irritable and mad and like go crazy at people.
After he took it?
Yeah,
What the hell? Why?
I can go get him and ask.
No, it's okay. Don't want to bring him in here to talk about his
I
Kratom,
want to know if he's on
his
Kratom.
Kratom problem. But you think Kratom is addictive, Billy?
Yeah, I've actually heard of people who had to go like into treatment for it because they sell it. Like I know of basically 2 people and the third person who told me a story.
Mhm.
So that is my anecdotal evidence.
Okay.
Just getting it out there.
All right, 3 people.
3 people.
3 people have told Billy that it's super addictive. Let's talk about the anti-vax stuff, the old school anti-vax.
Old school anti-vax.
Yeah,
Them.
Actual anti-vax.
actual anti-vax.
So is this one. Fuck out of here.
What do you mean?
So is COVID misinformation.
Well, but people have taken that word to mean like I think there are people who would call me someone who got vaccinated, but is like, I don't think the government should mandate it. I think there are people who would say that's being an anti-vaxxer. Now, I think it is.
Yeah,
Okay, that's insane.
it's not insane, nigga.
Someone who got vaccinated and is like, you should do what you want. That's being an anti-vaxxer.
Yes,
Okay, that's the craziest thing you've ever said on this show.
that's wild. Told you morphine is amazing.
I believe you.
Are you
So
against people getting vaccinated?
Let's
No,
you know what,
I got
let's-
vaccinated. I think everyone should do whatever they want.
Let's
no,
give
Billy.
some background.
No, Billy. No, Billy.
On
Let him
old
cook,
school
man.
anti-vax. Old school, like 90s anti-vax.
Wait, hold on. Let us finish, man.
I want to hear. I'm
Finish.
genuine. Why is that anti-vax?
Because what the health experts are recommending is that in order to congregate in large areas, it is the safest to be vaccinated.
Right.
Of-
and I did that. And I think everyone who wants to do that should do that. And if you
Right.
have a reservation about it, which I think are fairly founded, given the fact that we have however many tens of millions of people vaccinated and COVID's still spreading like wildfire, then you shouldn't. The government shouldn't mandate you to do that.
It's not founded, right? That's an
Why?
irrational. Why is it? You'd have to explain why it is.
Because they said for many months that a breakthrough infection was incredibly rare, and it turns out that's not true.
Because you're not taking into account variants.
Well, sure, I am. I mean that's
You're
what
not.
happened. There are variants, and that's why people got it.
Well, that's why it's not as effective, is because it's a new variant.
Okay, it's still COVID.
I think that people should just always we should do a better job of remembering, like, nobody knows what the fuck we're doing with this shit. This is all brand new, right? Like, there's certain
I don't think that's fair, though. I don't think that's fair to say, because there are people who know what they're doing. There's 1,000%. I think the issue is trying to educate a public about science on the go is the issue. Like explaining to Big T that it's not this COVID originally is not the same thing. It's in the same family, but it's not the same thing. It has different parts to it, right? But educating people on the process of that is like so at the beginning of the pandemic, when they say we don't need masks versus we do need masks, or this amount of days versus this amount of days, as the data gets collected, that's how science works. As the data gets collected, the most rational thing to do is to go with what the data is telling you, right?
My question
Data
is,
are telling you.
honestly, this is my question. So, the Iraq War, 9/11. Could you see that the military-industrial complex had influence on the decision-making back then?
yes.
COVID-19. The virus is real. It's here. Does no one think by that logic, that a pharmaceutical industrial complex might be having influence on laws and actions being happening. Don't you think there might be some sort of bridge of, not directly, but corporate actors trying to capitalize on the pandemic and having sort of
I would agree with you to an extent where yes, they would, right? But the difference is all of our intelligence agencies were telling us that there was no weapons of mass destruction, right? All of our comparatively intelligent agencies, which are scientists, are saying this needs to happen. This is the safest way to do this. That's the difference.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to COVID, it was definitely like a much more clear and present danger, and most people could figure that out based on, tens of thousands of people dying in New York City in the first month or whatever. But at the time with the Iraq War, it's like I don't think anybody was walking down the street like looking over their shoulder for Saddam Hussein, like, oh fuck, you might be here, right now. I do think that it's healthy to be skeptical about big pharmaceutical companies. Sure. And yeah, like, sure, scientists were probably, saying, okay, we can get to work on this vaccine and using existing technology, we can pump something out. I think it's good to celebrate that, but also at the same time, like, be a little bit skeptical about the companies that do end up making, get the biggest contracts out of it and get to sell a lot of their medicine. I think that it's very healthy to be skeptical about the motives of those companies.
I think a real issue I have, like, with people who are like super for free markets and pro capitalism is this is the monster that y'all wanted that created. This is what it creates. When you have a free market, right, and profit is the major motive, this is the byproduct of that. But
this is where I do not think so. When looking into this stuff, this is where I feel like there was not, that the pharmaceutical companies are not operating in a quote unquote free market. So here's a passage from AmericanProgress.org. Drug companies also benefit from patents, which give them monopoly power for their on-patent products. These patents ensure that prices remain high by reducing competition. Drug patents last for 20 years after the filing date. Pharmaceutical companies have also employed tactics such as evergreening and thicketing to prolong a drug's exclusivity. When evergreening, pharmaceutical companies make certain modifications to a drug, such as changing its chemical composition slightly or making an external change as minor as adding a stripe to a pill, in order to preserve their patents. A 2018 study in the Journal of Law and the Biosciences found that 78% of the new drug patents awarded in the past decades went to drugs that already existed. 70% of the nearly 100 best-selling drugs extend their exclusivity protections at least once, and 50% extend their patents more than once. The second tactic, thicketing, involves flooding the U.S. patent and trademark offices and the courts with excessive patents and applications to make it difficult for competing firms to secure patents. These tactics help preserve pharmaceutical companies' monopolies and ensure that drug prices remain uncompetitive and thus less affordable for everyday Americans. The reason I bring this up is, let's say the only way anyone was going to make money was with new technology. And what we've seen is these vaccines use new technology, mRNA. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm just questioning this. Do you think that this was because of the ease and efficiency and that it was totally going to be effective and it was a revolutionary technology that was actually going to stop the pandemic? Or do you think they rolled these out because they were the most profitable and could actually slip in through a loophole of being an experimental drug?
I think that it was a desperate time and we needed something fast. Okay. And so you can, in retrospect, look back and point at what motivations could have been happening. We don't really know for sure, but everybody was saying it's going to take 2 to 5 years to get a vaccine out. And we were like, well, we don't really have 2 to 5 years because we've been locked in our apartments for a week and we are already going insane. So I'm going to need you to speed that timetable up for me a little bit. Shout out Donald Trump, Operation Warp Speed. And you call it the Trump vaccine. But, he's right when he's like telling his audience, Like, look what we did. This is amazing. We got it out in 8 months when everybody said it would take 15 years. That's not actually what people said, but I'm fine with him saying that. I'm fine with him taking all the credit for it. Like,
well, I think the previous quickest vaccine for a novel virus was like 5 years.
yeah,
I think it was for Ebola.
But they were saying like this wasn't a novel virus though, because this was a SARS type coronavirus, which they had been studying for a while. So they had the building blocks in place. I think when Fauci first said, when he was estimating like the amount of time, I think he said like 18 months if we go at warp speed. It ended up taking about like 9 months, which is impressive. It's good. But I mean, at the time, I don't think that there wasn't a lot of patience to like, okay, let's open this whole thing up to RFP and we'll get every pharmaceutical company to propose their timeline and all that. It was like, let's just go pedal to the metal and try to figure this out.
I guess, Big T, the question I have is, if you think it's an insane idea to mandate any kind of, do you think it's insane to mandate any health regulation? So like any vaccination or any mandate for public, you don't think it's?
No, not if it's something that's like what? Like vaccines you have to get to go to school?
Or like polio or smallpox.
I mean, that's different.
The real crux of the issue.
Hold on, I want to know why real quick. Why is that different?
Because I think we've proven that for an overwhelming majority of people, COVID is a minor inconvenience. And there's a readily available vaccine that you can go get for free right now. If you want to do that, more power to you. I did it. I think if you want to do that, that's great. And if you don't, you have the information available to you and you don't have to do that. I also think that we've just, I think some of the things we're doing right now in terms of mandating that particular vaccine to go into a restaurant or to go to a baseball game, I find that ridiculous. But
there is the angle that if there were compounds that were in circulation already, that patents had run out, that may have actually been an effective way to fight the virus, that since it was in what's the word when it's past its patent date that we just used?
Public domain.
If it's in public domain, no one could make money.
Is that actually the term for it? I know it is when it comes to copyright.
Yeah, but public domain also applies to compounds.
Like Winnie the Pooh is in public domain.
Right.
Now.
So now a lot of this, so there is the idea that there may have been an effort to suppress the efficacy of some other treatments because no one could make money off of them.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Billy, I think it's always fair to be skeptical about people's motives, especially when there's billions and billions of dollars at stake. I think that's a totally fair thing to do. But I also think that a lot of people are coming from a place of bad faith when they're trying to find and poke holes in certain things that we're trying to do as a society because it doesn't line up with what the people that they get their information from are telling them is the real enemy. And they come at it from a place where they're just looking to fit their narrative from the get-go. And I'm the first person that'll say, like, don't trust the heads of these billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies because a lot of times they don't care. And somebody's making a lot of money right now selling us cures and selling us vaccines. And it's fair to question how they're managing all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think the frustrating part for me is this is a bipartisan issue. Like you'll find people on both sides of the aisle that say, yeah, the pharmaceutical companies are doing this, doing that, right? But I think the only side trying to fight it is the left. They'll say regulate. They'll say they coming up with different ways to try to disincentivize people to have profit motivating factors in healthcare. Like that is the major issue. Like when you have corporations putting more money into marketing than you do research and development, like that's a telltale sign that we're doing this backwards. Like there's thousands. I think that's the more frustrating part is like there's so many good scientists working on this stuff, and they're not getting the respect or the voice that they get because they're getting cut down from the overarching pharmaceutical companies and their motives, which we would all agree on.
I think the left and the right are hypocritical in different ways when it comes to big pharma. And a lot of times it's just about like whatever is politically convenient. But yeah, the left does overall, they try to regulate more. That's kind of what they do. They try to impose more regulations, more government oversight on things. But they also, all you have to do is like look at that Stephen Colbert skit that he did 6 months ago or whatever with the dancing vaccines. You remember that? Big T loved that one.
Oh yeah, it was so funny.
If you're somebody that's on the left,
peak comedy.
Like since when is it your business to like be promoting like big pharmacy and
they sponsor their shows.
Yeah, exactly. So like that shows me hypocrisy right there, which you see from a lot of people when it's just politically convenient. But if you consider yourself to be on the left, you should inherently be distrustful of any of these big corporations. And then the hypocrisy on the right is they don't like it because they don't like the vaccine mandates. I don't think because it's an infringement on liberty, because there's all sorts of other infringements on liberty that are much, much worse that we deal with every single day. I think they just don't like it because people on the left, when COVID started to break out, were pointing out what a shitty job Donald Trump did at first. And then it became, okay, it's anyone that increases, anyone that does anything to say that like COVID is a big deal and that we should do more to fight it, they're anti-Trump. And then those people became anti those scientists.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely want to know, like, because I'm trying to think of it myself. You wake up on January 11th of 2020 in New York City.
Yeah. What
is the biggest infringement upon your liberty that is more than what there is right now? Like if you were unvaccinated, you wouldn't supposed to be here. You couldn't go to a restaurant. You couldn't go to a gym, movie theater.
Anytime I want to buy a bottle of liquor, I have to show ID. Anytime I want to have anytime I want to drink a beer, I have to show ID.
Right.
Anytime I want to get on a bus and go out of state, I got to show ID. Anytime I want to get on a plane, I got to wait in line, and then I walk through a metal machine that shows everybody my dick.
I would say at most that's the same. I would argue it's lesser.
I would actually say like having to show ID every time you want to buy a beer. That's way worse, right?
Is it?
Yeah. Why? I mean, why do you have to show ID every time? What business is it of the government's if I want to have a drink?
Well, children.
Children? Someone think of the children?
We don't want drunk.
How
children.
big of a problem is it? How many deaths are there per year from a 12-year-old walking into a liquor store and buying a bottle of whiskey and then drinking it?
So I would say at worst that's the same, and even then you're not having. You just either are 21 or you aren't. That's not. You didn't have to go do something for that.
Deaths from underage
drinking.
But
like even if it is the same magnitude, it's the same like category of thing. Is there something else? Because
you have to have an ID to drive a car. You have to be registered with the government to own a car.
Right.
You have to just register. You have to tell the government where your car is.
Okay, so your squabble is with like showing ID to do a bunch of stuff.
I mean, there are a lot of things that you have to deal with that you don't really like with the government. But if you remember what it was like here in March of 2020 with, it was like a dead zone. People were dying left and right. You gotta make a trade at some point where you're like, okay, I don't mind. I'm willing to take an experiment on my own body to try to help out the greater good and to try to limit people from dying. Granted, the vaccine might not be perfect and it probably was rushed a little bit, but I'm willing to make that decision because I think that, I don't know, we should probably sometimes as a society make an effort to try to have some teamwork.
So I find that logic perfectly reasonable. And what I don't understand is why you use the word risk. You were like, I'm willing to take a risk on my body in getting a vaccine that might help me. It might have an adverse effect on me. We don't know. And then that's fine. So you're either taking a risk getting a vaccine, or you're like, I'm willing to take I feel like I'm a healthy individual.
Well, sometimes the government can tell you when to take a risk. So that's just kind of the contract that we have set up, because they tell you that you have to take a risk getting the MMR vaccine, which has
there's no mandate saying get the vax. They're just saying in certain establishments you can't frequent, right? There's a big difference.
Right.
Basically
I think there are a lot of people who want there to be a government mandate that everyone would have to get the vaccine, though.
That's your.
But I was saying, if you live in a place where like I was in Tennessee over Christmas, it's a radically different place. There nobody's checking a vaccine. And you're like, I feel like I'm a healthy individual. I'd rather just take my risk. If I get COVID, it is what it is, rather than taking a risk getting a vaccine. I don't see why that's such a like an unacceptable decision.
Because what the argument against that is you're not just doing it for you, or you're not just doing it to combat you, right? Because of the transmittable.
Right, but then if the vaccine works, then people who want to protect themselves get it, and then it should work, right?
No, see, and I think people that say that have never. Let me ask you: have you ever factored in probability to it?
Sure, and
how does tell me how that works in your brain when you hear probability and the vaccine? Like, how does that work?
So I got the vaccine, still got COVID. Mm-hmm. That happened to a lot of people that I know. Mm-hmm. The vaccine did not work for me.
Right. No.
So what I'm saying is, why would that, if it didn't even protect me?
No, I asked when you hear probability, how does that factor into a vaccine in your eyes, like about probability?
I don't understand your question.
Right. All right. So I think people that say that, they don't really factor in probability, right? And so they'll say the vaccine didn't work, I still got COVID. Well, no, that's not how vaccines work, right? Well,
that's how they said it worked.
No,
I mean,
it's not true. It's not true.
It is true. It is true. When the vaccine came out, they said breakthrough infections are like almost non-existent. And that was flagrantly untrue.
My question,
that is true.
My question is, who is determining the treatment? The pharmaceutical companies, and maybe doctors who work for them? Or is there any main place that's devoid of any sort of influence who's actually trying to make determinations?
There never is going to be that place, because the dirty secret is we're all humans and we're all fucked up, and everyone's got their motivations behind them. So there'll never be a completely neutral. That's why the subject of peer review is so important, because you're crowdsourcing your information to other qualified people. So you would think that if you take 10,000 doctors that are medically trained, the individual biases of certain doctors would kind of come out in the wash, and you look at what the majority of them are saying. So that's why that's so important. It's there because you're never going to have a board of 5 people that are going to be able to be the end all be all of the science god.
So this is where I think capitalism may impede healthcare, because for example, a place let's hypothetically Cuba, which is actually renowned to have a very good healthcare system. They send their doctors around the world. Mm-hmm. I'm sounding so commie right now.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, huge commie right now.
Pinko football.
But
have you heard of what?
How are they treating COVID?
That's a good question. I haven't
let me look into that
much about it. But Big T, it's commonly known that Cuba has a pretty good healthcare system.
And education.
I don't know enough about that.
And education, yeah. And they're right off the coast of Florida. Probably good weather.
Yeah, but I think in general, when you talk about, Billy's looking that up, I think when you Big T, what I was referring to, when you talk about probability and factoring that into the science of it, it's okay. The vaccine works for certain variants at a certain percentage, right? And so if 7 out of 10 of us get it, right, it'll protect 7 out of 10 of us in a way, but 3 of us, it won't, right? You're lowering the possibility of transmission, and you're lowering the probability that it spreads. You don't deal in 100% absolutes when you're talking especially with vaccines, right? You never are. I'm talking about the vaccines that they vaccinate kids for before schools, not the COVID. So I'm talking about MMR, all of that. None of it is absolute, but you're dealing in the probability. And over time, those 70%, there's more people getting those, the larger majority. that's I think, and that's the issue. Like when you're educating and people about science in real time, that stuff has to be looked up and reviewed on top of the COVID stuff on top. So you have all this information. People are just saying, what do I do? Right. And this isn't working, or it isn't working. And you never deal in the black and white when you talk about science. You just can't.
One thing that a writer, Stephen Novella, writes, that the pharmaceutical industry has a number of aspects which justified and justly deserve criticism. The demonization of it is both cynical and intellectually lazy. He goes on to consider that overblown attacks on big pharma actually let the pharmaceutical industry off the hook, since they distract from and tarnish more considered criticisms.
What would be those more considered criticisms?
I think this applies entirely to this vaccine stuff, because basically you had a movement which was crackpot from its origins of the anti-vax movement in the 90s, claiming that vaccines caused autism, caused birth defects, and all sorts of stuff.
Which were all basically based around one study by a guy that admitted he fucked it up.
Yeah. And then,
so I don't think he ever admitted it per se.
But I think that sort of, and that sort of falls under this idea of, you know, being against the vaccine is crockpot, is like, you know, totally tinfoil hat, has actually not allowed us to actually look deeper at these vaccines and sort of be a little more, have constructive criticism. Mm-hmm. It's totally
constructive criticism is fine. I think. I don't think anyone's arguing against constructive criticisms. I think we're just saying, like, if it should probably be done by scientists who are studying it as the data comes in, right? Like I have no problem with criticizing the vaccine if it's warranted.
And I think that's the thing, is like there's mad publications that you can go read, right? That are peer reviewed. Like, go criticize that. Like the Israel study with 600,000 patients, the study in India, like all of these studies this is why people are so confident in saying that it's an effective vaccine, is because of all of these studies. Like, people they use a lot of anecdotes. Well, I got it, and I did this, and I did that, and that's just not. It's just not rational, and I guess this is frustrating. It's just not a rational way to be. Like, the best way we could do is, given the data given to us, make an informed decision off of that.
There are a lot of people that are saying natural immunity is better than the immunity that you get from vaccine. It lasts longer. You get more antibodies in certain situations, which, like, I understand if those are the facts, and I've seen some studies that say that, like, natural immunity might be better if you currently have the natural immunity in your body. But then, like, what are they saying that you should be doing? Just like contracting COVID once every 6 months, and that's like, just go hang out with somebody that's got COVID, and then you'll get the natural immunity read up, because that to me seems like it's definitely not a sustainable solution to the problem. Because I'm probably in a situation right now where I don't have the booster, but I just got COVID twice. I'm probably my body probably has a lot of antibodies in it right now.
Oh yeah, and you probably I would think,
but I don't want to go out and like fight. My plan is not to go get COVID in May, and then I'll be fine for the summer.
But that's,
you know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, with viruses, we sometimes, for example, the cold, we sometimes catch a virus, and because we have antibodies, we don't even really catch it. We just re-up our antibodies because we're exposed to a little bit of viral load. Then we kill it, no symptoms, no nothing, and it goes away. And that's your catching it again.
That would be awesome if that's the case. But I don't know if. Do we know that for sure, that that's how this works? And if so, like, how much exposure do you have to it?
Also, you know what pisses me off? You know what pisses me off? And this is totally like meathead. I hate how when people get sick nowadays, we have to all act like, oh my God, you have like healthy ass fucking men are getting COVID. No offense, PFT, but like, we're in group chats and it's like, oh no, I'm so sorry you're sick. But it's like, when the fuck did people, like, grown ass men getting sick become like, oh, like,
I don't think people are necessarily.
It's just like, why are you treating it like something like really bad happened? Like get your fucking nutsack out.
Yeah,
I'm thinking it's gotta like this. I hate this shit. Like, oh, you got COVID.
I'm thinking back to when I got sick, and I think all I got, like, in our group chat, I'm pretty sure Big Cat was just one time like, hey PFT, how you feeling? And I was like, kicking my ass a little bit, but I'm okay. But is that what you consider like? PFT,
No. It's like everyone's just like drool. Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry you got COVID. Like, oh my god. I'm like, everyone's fucking getting it. Everyone, like, no one's. Yes, there are people at risk who are dying, but like when your buddy gets COVID, it's not like a fucking. Like it's everyone's acting like so like soft about it.
I
It's
think
just
a lot
like,
of
but Billy, like some people's buddies get COVID and they fucking die. So
yeah,
it's
but
you don't know how it's gonna affect.
But buddy, as in like someone your age, like your friend, your compatriot,
someone who's showing mild
35.
symptoms.
I'm 35. If somebody my age get it, I'm tapping in to see how they doing, dog.
I think
I think it's kind of soft. I think it's soft.
Billy's like a high school football coach.
No, I think it's soft.
Rub some dirt on your lungs.
Arian, if you caught COVID and you were like sick, like I would not really baby you about it. I'd be
What is
like,
baby? Just be
but
like,
everyone's
fam,
like,
are you alright, bro?
everyone's like, no, like, oh, dude, you're sick. I'm like, yeah, like I'm sick. Like you just deal with it. Like that was our mentality.
That's
Like it's
so hold on. Your proposition is when somebody gets sick, but yo, man, the fuck up, dog.
Yeah.
How many times did you go to school with a runny nose? Go to school like a little sick? Like,
do you think people are showing, I would say, sympathy because it COVID is different than other sicknesses we've dealt with because when
my buddy got mono, right, and mono like hits you pretty fucking hard. Like, yes, it may not kill you because it usually hits teenagers.
Pretty big distinction.
Yeah, like, swollen, your fucking spleen swells or whatever. Like, we weren't like all like, oh man, are you okay? Like,
because you're like a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah, but it's like I hate this whole like if grown ass men who are like
or women
healthy, like able-bodied men are getting COVID, we're acting like, oh my god, are you okay?
I also think though COVID is
wild,
different.
dog.
COVID
That's
is different than other sicknesses. It's different than a lot of things
Is
it puts no. Hold on.
Fucking tough,
Because
bro? Why are you so tough?
No, it's just pissing me off that like because I look like an asshole when like someone gets COVID and someone's like, oh man, like I hope you're okay. Like
hold on, because it puts
and I'm like, and I said like, yo, dude, like what, like, and I'm like, I say something that seems totally insensitive, but then like I'm the only one who's like,
but
I feel like I'm a crazy person.
COVID puts more of like a pause on you. Like you have to literally like become a shut-in for however many days the CDC recommends at this point. So I think it's also more of like an inconvenience thing. Like, holy shit. Like it's when you get a cold, you're like, whatever. When you get COVID, it's like, fuck, I have to then like go into quarantine. Like that's more what I would say, like, oh, that sucks. Like when people were getting it after SantaCon, like, and they couldn't go spend time with their families for Christmas in fear they would kill their grandma. Like that's what you would say, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like that sucks. It's more of the, like, if you're healthy, if it's a Billy football getting COVID, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, Billy, I'm so sorry that you're sick. It's going to be like, oh, that sucks that you have to like put a pause in your life for like a week or a week and a half. Like that's inconvenient.
Billy's basically saying, fellas, is it gay to see if your friend has a fever? Be honest.
That's wild.
You'd really ask another man how he was feeling? Really?
I just think that. Anyway,
I feel like
what's wrong with empathy, Billy? Explain.
No, but it's just like
I'm saying, what's wrong with empathy? What's wrong with it?
I just think that it's a total like stuff that we're just getting softer as a nation.
You're gonna ask another dude about his throat.
Pause.
I think we're getting stronger, man. I think there's strength and vulnerability. I think there's strength in empathy.
I also agree there's strength and vulnerability, but at some point they're like, you have to have a little bit of grit about something.
I think Billy's just annoyed that he hasn't been able to bust his friend's balls as much as, or either that or he got like, somebody got mad at him for busting balls too quick. Somebody had like 104-degree fever. It was like, Billy, not
issue here, Billy. There's something going on, fam.
It's just
know what it is.
I don't know. I just think that, like,
All right. Let's dial it back. Bring it back to 90s vaccines.
90s anti-vax.
Yeah.
OG
Wow,
anti-vax.
that really took a while.
Also, the cancer, the whole idea that
was the Tennessee
Big Pharma has a cure for cancer, and they're just keeping it from us. In that the original Big Pharma conspiracy theory is that there's a cabal of people trying to keep cancer going, so people die, control the population.
I got a question.
Yada yada yada.
What's a cabal? I mean, I know how people use it, but like, what's the difference between a cabal, a council?
Let's look at what's the
panel?
cabal. OG cabal.
A secret meeting? Is it just like one of those collective nouns that we use? How we say like a murder of crows?
Political clique or faction. Where's it come from?
A cabal of globalists?
Small group of plotters, secret plotters against the government or person in authority.
So it had to do it.
So they're plotting against authority.
Yeah.
So it's not like a group of people who are in authority.
Not from this definition that I'm.
Okay.
It's Latin.
What's a cabal?
Kabbalah.
When you think cabal?
A cabal,
Uh-huh.
like an evil group of people.
Yeah, like maybe some robes.
Like the Illuminati.
What's the picture of like
Some
the
robes,
yeah, robes. Bohemian
pig
Grove.
masks.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
thinking like suits, like black suit, black tie.
Oh, really? Maybe like a half mask on.
Okay, I just Googled
Yeah.
cabal images.
Like Squid Games, dudes in the Squid Games.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a
Upstairs.
cabal.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so yeah, sorry. The original conspiracy was they thought that a cabal of globalists were withholding cures for cancer
Yeah.
to limit population growth.
Mhm.
I got a buddy that thinks that to this day.
Here's the thing though about that. If you actually have a cure for cancer, you are going to be the richest person in the world.
No
right?
question.
You would sell that to everybody.
Or-
Every like school nurse would have your prescription in her office. Everybody would have your pills like in their desk drawer. It would be the highest selling pills of all time, maybe besides like, I don't know, Tylenol or aspirin. If you had the ability to cure all cancer, that seems to me like you would take advantage of that and make a ton of money. And then the pharmaceutical companies could then focus their efforts on developing drugs to rid the world of heart disease or strokes or things like that. So you can find other ways to sell people more drugs. I just don't understand why you would hold out that cure.
Maybe it's big funeral home.
There you go.
Hey,
Dude.
here's a philosophical. I want everybody to answer. If you figured out the cure to cancer, would you sell it or would you give it away for free?
Well, there's the 20 years you get the patent. No, I'm just kidding.
How much money are we talking about here?
Yeah, I need a price tag.
It's your price tag. It's you figured it out. You can either sell it for whatever your price.
Do you want to put
Oh.
a flat $1 billion on it?
What if I leased it out?
Well, this is
If I-
Sher Kelly.
Like you can put
do
it on
that too. Whatever
pay
you
me
feel
pay me layaway and give me a percentage each month. No, I mean I give it away. Yeah. Fuck
Okay,
it.
PFT getting away. Billy, what you doing?
I mean, I wouldn't Martin Shkreli it. Shkreli? With
Shkreli.
the hepatitis C drug.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dude who upmarketed it so much, made super expensive. But there's like when people do healthcare consulting, they solve this exact problem of how much you should sell the drug for. And whatever you should sell the drug for, I'd sell the drug for. I would not make it way too high or way too
Also
low.
selling it.
Because you want to make it so people are not like, oh, do I pay? Like there is the free market. Like, what's better? Like not spending $1 million or like grandma dying, like, because then people at some point will be like, this is way too expensive. I like honestly,
Like
sorry,
only the
grandma.
uber wealthy
Yeah.
could afford it.
Yeah. You want to make it accessible, a price that is accessible to all.
So you selling it? Got you. Big T, what you doing?
I mean, probably selling it. Took a lot of money to develop that.
Definitely not losing money on it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
And insurance should cover it.
that's the question. Is like when you say sell it. Like if I had the knowledge to make this drug myself, I would need money in order to produce it and then distribute it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have the money to do that on my own. So I guess I would need money. Otherwise, I just like what do I do? I just tell somebody else how to do it, and then they would sell it.
You asking me?
Yeah, yeah.
I would absolutely give it away for free, and I would source fund. There's no way I'm taking any profit on a life-saving thing that I figured out. I'm gonna crowdsource. That's what I meant. I would crowdsource. I think you'll find an unlimited amount of funds to find distributing outlets or funding for distributing outlets for people all across the world.
So I actually agree with Arian. After I have a long, illustrious career in the NFL and several contracts, I would then give away the cancer drug for free.
I hear that, but this is what I mean. Think about it like this: if say I give it away for free, right? You don't think I'm going to make any kind of money with the book sales, with the speaking engagements, with any kind of tours I'm doing? Like, you don't think you're going to make no money doing that?
Yeah. I've always thought that if somebody wins a Powerball jackpot and they get like $200 million, what if they just gave all that money away for free? Because you would go down in history, especially if you were like a poor person that won that lottery. You give away all that money for free. You go down as being like the nicest person ever. You definitely get book tours. You get, speak. Your life is probably pretty easy.
Imagine being a restaurant owner, and the dude that created cancer walk in and you charge him for a plate. Fuck out of here.
Yeah,
dick.
Or what if you're
Jonas Salk? Jonas Salk gave the cure to polio away.
What if you're like a super successful business person in like tech, and then like you make a shit ton of money, become the richest man in the world, and then you start giving away most of it, and then doing like stuff that everyone thinks that you're a eugenicist trying to kill people.
You give it away. Yeah. You invest heavily in vaccines.
Talk about how they have a 20-to-1 return, and then everyone thinks you're actually not good. But
Love this.
Evil.
Love
Billy
this.
subtweeting.
Let's go. Best investment he ever made.
Wait. So listen, I think Bill Gates is a scumbag weirdo. You're not going to catch me like being a Bill Gates super fan. I think anyone that's a fan of Bill Gates is a freak. But it's pretty clear, right, when he's saying that it's the best investment that he's made, that each life that he saves contributes eventually down the line to the economy of wherever they grow up in, and they generate wealth for those around them as any human would that's growing up, right? That's what he's talking about.
He very explicitly said they have a return of 18 to 1. It's the best investment I ever made.
Right, but you understand, like, if you can save everybody's life in one village, then that village...
I don't think that's what he meant.
No, he meant like...
just killing them.
He meant
he was just openly admitting, like, I've been able to murder so many more people than I thought that I would with this
murder.
No, he's talking about financial.
He's talking about the money he's making.
By selling the drug. By selling those drugs?
Correct.
Like the one is how much money he puts into research.
I don't think we're on the same page.
I don't think he's making...
It said in the thing,
very
in the video.
Explicitly.
So for people that don't know, was it Billy that sent the video in the group chat?
Find the video, Billy. I don't think
Billy sent a video. Someone sent a video in our group chat the other day talking about how Bill Gates made an investment of $20 billion in vaccines, and it was the best investment he ever made because it was a 20-to-1 return.
Yeah, so
he made $200 billion on vaccines alone.
Okay, so I think it's pretty obvious when it's a billionaire talking about this shit. If you're a billionaire and you can save 1 million people's lives, that's 1 million people that are going to grow up and use all your fucking products that you sell to everyone.
Right, but I don't think that's what he was referring to in that quote.
All right, I'll have to look into the quote, because if you're Bill Gates and you can save 1 million lives in America by providing vaccines, those are 1 million people that will eventually use a Windows product.
Yeah, but
you're right, PFT. So just listen. Quick Google search. Of course, the video was cut, and so in the video he makes no mention of personal gain. He didn't mention his personal his personal gain, but rather discuss the social and economic benefits generated by his charitable foundation investments in vaccines. That's everything I've looked into Bill Gates, right? So I don't know enough about him to be a fan or not a fan of, but everything that I've looked, all the claims have all been false. They've all been like that. They've all been like taken out of context. Like my man's a while back was like, he wants to depopulate the earth. Like I've heard that one before, right? And he did say that in a TED talk, right? But it's missing a lot of context. It's missing the context of the studies that have been shown that the more medical assistance a people have, the less that they procreate. And he was saying that we need less population to have sustainable population, so that all the people have access to resources. So he was just mentioning what the studies say, which is if the poor people are, the more that they more that they procreate, the less access they have to medical, then the less, the more they procreate. And that's all he was saying. He's not saying he wants to make vaccines and kill people.
Every country you can see as they
I don't think
as they
anybody said
develop,
that.
the birth rate goes down. That's like across the board. I think
No, people were saying that.
yeah.
Oh, I don't think Billy or I were.
No,
saying
y'all were saying he was mentioning his investment in vaccines were
Correct.
Yeah, he wasn't talking about his personal.
But like his
accounts.
foundation and things like that.
You know
but
who
that's not-
really,
that's not
you
what he
know
was
who
referencing.
really
It was
hates
just out
Bill
of context.
Gates?
Who?
Indians. It's been trending since like before the pandemic. They've wanted to arrest Bill Gates
Or something like from India?
from India. The proper
Okay.
term for Indians.
Yeah,
The
nah, I agree.
subcontinent.
Yeah.
Why do they hate Bill Gates? And are we sure that they actually hate Bill Gates? And this might just be like a TikTok trend that you've seen where it's like 5,000 people that hate Bill Gates.
Okay. Hashtag arrest
It's a
Bill
lot-
Gates trended on
large
Indian
continent.
Twitter in May, part of the campaign calling Indian authorities to charge the BMGF and Gates for conducting illegal medical trials on vulnerable groups in 2 Indian states. This is not the first time the BMGF or Bill Gates has been at the receiving end of public anger in India. The latest outburst is part of a constantly growing anger against Gates and his foundation in India. As early as April 2021, Gates received flack for expressing his reluctance about sharing COVID-19 vaccine technologies with developing countries like India. After severe public criticism in India abroad, BMGF Chief Executive Officer Mark Schumann officially supported a temporary waiver on vaccine IP. Gates is old, like, yeah, they didn't want to give the vaccine to India.
Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like maybe there's some subgroups of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that have been doing allegedly unethical tests, which I think, like, obviously, if that's true, that's a very good criticism. It's a very fair criticism. It wouldn't be the first time that American corporations have gone over to India and destroyed local cities, or I mean, look at the Bhopal chemical disaster with Dow Chemical.
They were calling Bill Gates the new Mother Teresa in India
in a bad way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Listen,
it's just- I just-
I am
my only point, and
I'm not
probably
a Bill Gates fan.
I probably
so.
said a bunch of stuff that, but my only point is I think there's this blanket term of, we can't criticize anything that's going on is actually shielding all of these entities from real criticism of actual stuff. That's my only point. If you're going to take it.
I don't think there's any short of criticism. Like, I think there's mad criticism.
No, but like actual criticism that's taken seriously and,
Like what?
like, for example, if it's like, hey, these, like, as we talked about, these vaccines were promised to give us immunity and stop the spread. That was the whole mantra, stop the spread.
But okay,
And it's
but can't we like be honest with each other and say never did a person say, like, if you get this vaccine you're going to stop the spread. The conversation was always, this vaccine is 95% effective after your second dose against this wave of the COVID virus.
Here, let's
Am I insane for thinking
I
that
think
that
the
was
truth
always,
is between those. I think at the beginning,
I think people maybe wanted to believe, but
I think there's some pretty clear-cut
No,
statements
it's-
from Fauci and the CDC director,
Yeah.
and
I'm not talking about like a 30-second clip on CNN.
but I mean they were in the media parroting, if you get this vaccine, you will not spread it to other people. You are
right.
probably very, very likely not going to get it.
Probably.
And
Is
even
a
if
big, it's a big word. to
And
just
even
gloss
if you
over.
do, you won't get sick and you won't spread it to other people.
They should have done a much better job of being clear with it. I mean, like, against this variant, it's looking very promising. However, there could be evolutions of the virus it would end up that this vaccine is much less effective against those. If they had said that at first, then would that have been better? Because I think they were implying
science
it,
has
they never really said it.
Science has a bad PR problem in general. Because, like, I remember having arguments with people about like creationists, right? When they'll say evolution is just a theory. I don't know whose idea in science it was to make a theory after a word like theory, right? It's just bad PR. Theory is the highest form of something that we know as man, human beings. But like, we put it next to a word that somebody's like, I got a theory about why giraffes have it. But science in general has bad PR because there's so many axioms that have to be understood in order to get the main point. And if you don't understand these axioms, the main point can be misconstrued, and that's exactly what's happening.
For the record, I do think like be very, very skeptical of some of these big pharmaceutical companies, even though it
I think that's bipartisan. That's
bipartisan. It
bipartisan.
should be. It shouldn't be controversial to say that. I think Billy's been listening to some Joe Rogan. I have too, so I know where it's coming from with some of this. And listen, Joe Rogan actually he does get a bad rap sometimes. He's just an intellectually curious guy. He never makes any claims that he's the smartest person out there, that he has all the answers for any science. And so if you're able to listen to him and take everything that he says with a grain of salt, and follow up on some of the stuff that he talks about, because he falls down a trap where he hunts out the data that he wants to see. And then he doesn't really look at that much conflicting data unless he has a guest on who's willing to challenge him on that. But he gets into his own self-fulfilling data holes sometimes. But I know what Billy was thinking about saying. It was about the ivermectin thing, where people were saying he's taking horse paste, when in reality, and other people were saying he's taking this great drug that's shown a lot of promise. In reality, he was just taking a drug that was completely unproven against coronavirus, but it wasn't horse paste. He wasn't taking veterinary medicine, but that was the narrative that got spun against him.
It's just there's a lot. This world we live in is not straightforward by any means.
It's not.
I just feel like we're being gaslit by everybody.
You are. Yes, stay very woke out there. So original anti-vax people, they were saying that
autism,
you get autism. And was there any link?
Not that we know of as of now, but there was Guillain-Barré. There was one vaccine that gave people an autoimmune disorder, which was a swine flu back in the 60s, which was valid, but it wasn't statistically significant for how many people, not everyone who got vaccinated got it.
There was also thalidomide. Do you guys know about thalidomide?
No.
Thalidomide was a drug that was given to pregnant women. I want to say back in the 60s, maybe the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And it was given to a woman who was pregnant who might have nausea, because, obviously if you're pregnant, sometimes you get stomach issues. And so they just prescribed it as a miracle cure. And it turns out that it absolutely fucked up the fetus. And so there were kids that were born, just tons and tons of children that were born with they weren't fully formed in terms of arms, legs, things like that. 1950s and 1960s. It resulted in severe birth defects in thousands and thousands of children. It was banned in most countries. Thalidomide proved to be a useful treatment for leprosy and later multiple myeloma. And it was continued to be prescribed in a lot of developing nations, even though they realized that, hey, there was some toxicity issues here. So it ended up encouraging the United States to set up stricter regulatory conditions for monitoring these drugs to make sure that didn't happen in the future. But it's one of the most fucked up things that's happened in terms of the pharmaceutical industry in the United States. Also, it's a lyric in a Billy Joel song. We Didn't Start the Fire. He talks about it.
Billy, what you looking at, man? You look locked in.
I'm just reviewing notes. We've gotten totally I was going to talk about how people thought AIDS wasn't real and stuff, and
I have something on AIDS.
What?
So I watched Tick Tick Boom over the Christmas break, the one with Andrew Garfield about Jonathan Larson, the guy who wrote Rent. Obviously I was not alive when that came out. And this is me being ignorant, and I will admit to that. I did not, and a lot of the movies about AIDS in the 90s in New York, I did not realize how much of a death sentence being HIV positive was in the 90s.
Yeah.
I didn't spoiler alert, in the movie someone gets AIDS.
No.
Yeah. But he was like, yeah, I have a year. I did not realize it was a death sentence that. I thought you could survive, because I guess the only person I know from the 90s honestly that has HIV is Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still kicking. So I just I didn't realize that every single person that
This
got
ain't-
it.
Arian, do you think he had HIV?
Nigga, what?
Wait, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Did you say do I think I have HIV?
No, do you think he does? Magic Johnson.
Oh, I was like, what kind of question is that?
Yeah, I said, do you think he
No,
had AIDS?
Yeah, I think you got it, bro. Yeah.
But I just
This is the reason why, though. This is the reason why. I'm sorry, Maddie. I ain't gonna cut you off.
no, go for it.
The reason why is because my uncle is HIV positive, and he's been living with it since I was a kid. So he's I don't know, he's probably 50, almost 60 now. No, he's probably think he's in 60. And he's also an anomaly for his era, right? And he was a gay man, and he is a gay man. And we thought he was going to die when we heard he had it. But he's been living, 20 plus, maybe 30 plus years with it now. And so I've always kind of had the back insight on, and I also see what he calls the cocktail, what they call the cocktail, like what they have to take. And I haven't been around him in years, so I don't know if they still do this. But when I was younger, he had to take like a whole bunch of pills every day to kind of mitigate the blowback and make it turn into full blown AIDS. But yeah, I do think he had it.
Yeah, because I was watching. Oh, what?
Well, hold on, I had a real quick question because Maddie was like, I didn't know that it was a death sentence like that. So hold on, does the younger generation not really fear HIV like that?
No. Well, because
Really?
now if you test HIV positive, you can get drugs that basically make it undetectable.
I personally still fear HIV. I don't know.
I mean, I fear HIV. I don't want HIV, but
I don't think that they had the same experience that we did when we were growing up in like elementary
but
school when it
I
was
think
so
I'm-
new and it was scary and it was like you thought every time you fell down and skinned your knee that you were going to get AIDS.
yeah, no, that was not the experience I have. Like the only reason I know about HIV is like because of like gay media, I guess. But
so
I'm just bugging because it's like, it's definitely a generational thing to where I'm like, that's the main reason we strapped up, right? It wasn't really because we didn't want to have babies. It's because we didn't want the big H is what we called it. You can get the little H, but the big H, that shit, nah.
is the
And so,
little H like hepatitis?
herpes.
Little H is herpes. So now what I'm saying is like, what is incentivizing young cats? Because they're not getting there's less amount of pregnancies amongst y'all's generation.
Yeah, now
So,
we just
like,
don't want kids.
So is it y'all are strapping up more? Y'all just ain't having sex as much.
I just don't think we want kids.
Just the pull-out game better. I got it.
Our birth control,
Is getting more effective.
IUDs,
IUDs, yeah.
Could be, yeah.
the Nuva ring.
Well, now no, the real
Got options.
guys. I keep telling you about this Charleston chlamydia. That's crazy.
You do keep telling us about this? I've
Yeah, no, he
never.
does. Billy talks about it all the time.
It's
I've
a
never
super
heard you
bug.
talking
Like it's
about
the
this.
closest thing we had. Like
I've never heard. Tell me about the
I
Charleston.
thought I told you about. So
Yeah,
basically,
Billy thought, yeah.
there's a bunch of colleges in Charleston, right? Like I think that's where.
The Citadel.
Yeah, and basically
They're
they
fucking
keep
at the Citadel.
prescribing a shit ton of antibiotics because everyone's catching the same strain of STD. I actually don't know if it's chlamydia or gonorrhea, and they're just like they're doing exactly what you're not supposed to do with overprescribing antibiotics, and you have an antibiotic resistance chlamydia that they keep trying to kill.
And so now it's like a super.
It's its
bug.
own strain. It's a super bug, and it's because of unprotected sex, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, but I like did not realize I mean, like I did, but we didn't learn about. At least I didn't learn about it in school. Of like, HIV used to be a huge.
Oh yeah.
So there was a guy, Casper Schmidt, who thought that HIV was a myth, and he thought that it was homosexuals internalizing anti-gay narrative and essentially turned their aggression inward by somatizing tensions and played the role of masochistic partner in the scapegoating ritual, which was to fall in the
You're
face
saying
of guilt
so many big words.
and shame heaved. I'm reading quotes. Basically, this guy died of AIDS and he thought it was fake.
I mean, that happens now with
Yeah.
COVID, but like is that okay? Again, I'm gonna ask a question. Is a lot of homophobia like in the 80s and the 90s stemming from the fact that people were like, if you get HIV, you're gonna just kill a bunch of people because you're gay?
I think that. I mean, there was.
I don't want to sound insensitive. I don't know.
It was definitely intertwined it was HIV and AIDS was looked at as being a gay disease
Right.
in the 1980s, which is why it was like the punchline of a joke for a long time. And it took a very long time for the government to fund any research going into treating it or preventing it or really studying it in general. It was just looked at as like
A risk to take.
Gay people go to bathhouses and they give each other AIDS. That's kind of what that's about as far as the media narrative went with it until like 1987,
That's
1988.
so crazy.
And then they started to actually study it. And
I saw heroin usage as well.
Yeah.
For HIV? Because like needles?
Yeah.
Dirty needle, dirty needles.
Yeah, so they think that. So there was also a lot of communities thought that AIDS was started by the government and big pharma in order to like as a population control technique. Well, we now know.
I think Kanye still thinks that.
Kanye thinks a lot of things.
He has a few bars in I think late registration and graduation actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know the government administer AIDS, right?
I treat the cash like the government treats AIDS. I won't be satisfied that all my niggas get it.
So recently it came out that they may have pinpointed the exact time AIDS transmitted from, I think, chimpanzees to humans. Or let me look at the exact species of monkey. It may be rhesus monkeys.
Oh, I've never looked into this, so I don't know anything about this.
Yes.
They found out that it did come from a monkey.
Yeah, so the old like trope was that someone had sex with a monkey to get HIV, but they really think that during World War I, an individual ate bushmeat, like a European soldier shot a monkey and ate it, and that's how it was contracted.
Okay.
That's wild.
Yeah. Which makes sense because it's a bloodborne. Yeah, crossed from chimps to humans in the 1920s in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
He got really fucked up, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, HIV originated. Oh, that's 2003. This is 2011. David Carr was an apprentice printer who died. It was the first time AIDS. Wait,
the quarterback?
No. This was the first guy to die of AIDS. That's not funny. I'm sorry. Most non-huge cats have HIV.
Yeah,
feline
immunodeficiency virus.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, chimps actually live, pretty. They since it's been in their population for longer, it's not as deadly. They're like because the ones who die of it die like, evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out the exact, because it was like someone shot a chimp and ate it, and that's how they think it happened. No one actually had sex with a chimp.
They could have also fucked it before they ate it, though. You never know.
You never know.
There's truly no way to find out.
Huh.
I have heard a lot of conspiracy theories about Magic Johnson, though.
Like what?
Like that he doesn't have it, that he got caught sleeping with somebody that he really shouldn't have been sleeping with, and then was used to be a prop, like a poster child, to get more funding towards AIDS research and to increase awareness of it in exchange for, he was kind of like blackmailed into telling people that he had it. It's probably not true, but
because it derailed his whole career. So like he was in his prime, was literally in his prime.
Yeah. But apparently the thing that he got caught doing was so bad that he was willing to walk away from the NBA, say that he had HIV, and become the poster child for AIDS research, as long as the person that caught him didn't say that. Again, this is probably not true.
Yeah, he was such a big like mega star. I think there's too many people involved that would have to.
Yes.
I don't know.
It is. He's a miracle of modern medicine, though. The fact that he's still alive, that he's like probably the most healthy person on the planet right now. He's in great shape.
Well, that's why I was like kind of confused when I watched the movie, because Magic Johnson in like my head is one of the biggest celebrities that's been very open about their, diagnosis with HIV.
While you're looking into that, I want to talk to you about our great friends over at BetterHelp. We love BetterHelp. Now is a great time if you've ever been thinking about reaching out to somebody for any sort of therapy. Perfect time to start. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. We talk about mental health a lot on this show, and this month we're discussing some of the stigmas around mental health. So some people think that you should wait until things get bad before you go to therapy, but that's not true. Therapy is a tool to utilize before things get worse, and it can help you avoid those lows. Many people think therapy is for quote-unquote crazy people, but therapy does not mean something's wrong with you. It means that you recognize that all humans have emotions. We need to learn to control them, not avoid them. We've been taught that mental health should not be a part of normal life, but that's wrong too. We take care of our bodies. We go to the gym. We go see the doctor. We eat right. We should also be focusing on our minds just as much. BetterHelp is a customized online therapy that offers video, phone, even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Give it a try. See why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/dose. That's betterhelp.com/dose.
Shit, we might have to move the voicemails to Nanodose.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I totally forgot.
Oh my god.
What?
Back to.
You forgot.
I know.
Can we talk about the pig man?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. GMOs.
Talk about medical findings.
All right, yeah. So instead of doing voicemails, we'll move those to Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got to talk
Might be.
about the pig man today.
So, summary.
Pig
Billy, do you
man.
want to, or Avery, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I saw this article pop up like as we were doing the show. The U.S. surgeons, this is the first ever thing. They transplanted a what is it, a biogenetical pig heart?
Genetically modified pig heart.
Yeah, I don't even know if biogenetical is a word. Into a human patient, which is crazy.
So they put a pig heart that had been modified, like in what way?
I think they grew a human heart in a pig.
But why wouldn't they? I feel like I don't know if you're fucking us with us or not.
No. David, do you remember when they grew an ear on a mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's an ear, not a heart.
Oh, it's organ.
I don't think an ear is an organ.
So wait, yeah, we need to figure this out. Like, you would grow a human heart inside of a pig. Does a human heart work in a pig?
I think traditionally no. But that's I guess this is the
I do not think God intended for human hearts to be grown in pigs. He's the designer of nature. and
Everything
everything.
should just be interchangeable. We should be able to just like take a pig's stomach.
So it
Yeah,
says on the New York,
donkey.
it says from the New York Times that it was a genetically altered pig. So it doesn't say anything about the heart. It doesn't say anything about the heart being like a pig's heart into a human being. So it's a pig heart.
Raises all sorts of ethical questions.
Mm-hmm.
I've never even heard of xenotransplantation.
It's the first of its kind, apparently.
I think they modified the pig so that if they were to take the heart out, it wouldn't get rejected by the human body.
Well, yeah, that's the point.
But be it like a lot of the times that has to do with blood type.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they genetically engineered a pig to have human blood types.
And it says on here that the man who got the heart transplant had terminal heart disease, and so there were no other options for him. So is it like if you're diagnosed with a terminal disease, you're like taken off the heart transplant list?
Well, I think it was because this guy said it was basically die or get a pig
die or
heart.
get a pig heart.
I'd be team pig heart.
Yeah, I get a pig heart too.
Then I call myself man pig.
Yeah, Big T, where do you stand on this?
I mean, I guess if you need a heart, like you're willing to do. I think it's weird. I don't think there's necessarily a moral implication with it.
You don't think so?
Do you?
What happens when people
Okay.
start taking other body parts from animals and implanting them?
Like what?
Billy,
Billy wants to ask
Billy wants
about
to
a
say-
frog's vagina.
or like an elephant's penis or something.
There's other cool stuff.
Like,
the heart isn't cool. It's necessary. Dog.
What if you took a baboon's ass?
And you'd look pretty weird.
Yo, what if I wanted an elephant's trunk on my face?
I mean, like we eat pigs, so I don't know why using a pig for a much more important purpose.
We
than that
basically,
would
when
be.
we eat, we
That's true.
use animal proteins when we eat them, and they go into our body.
Right. So
are we all?
I don't get.
Billy, are you high right now, dog?
Honestly, I'm so tired.
It sounds like you high right now.
I've
dog.
got a little
Delusional?
delusional.
Yeah, so it was a late night last night. Billy's been working hard. He's been blogging hard. He also has to work out today.
I already did.
You already did?
I went on. Actually, what happened was I went running, and it was really cold this morning. I got this new setup with my dog where I have like a leash that I tie around my waist, and then I have my dog in a running harness, and then we just go for it. And like we went like 2.5 miles. It's really awesome.
Damn. All right. Well, also some news behind the scenes here from part of my take. Billy and I are going to be going on a road trip out to Los Angeles for the Super Bowl.
Does Arian even know about this?
So Billy lost a contest. I came in second place in the contest. So we're doing a road trip. We're driving from New York City all the way to Los Angeles. I'm excited about it because I like road trips. And so we're trying to plot out a course across the country right now. Right now we're thinking about going through Tennessee, through Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona to Los Angeles. So if anybody out there lives along the way, has any recommendations for things that we should stop and see, just little side quests that we can do along the way, please let us know. It's gonna be a fun trip.
I think I'm gonna have to do the 72-ounce steak challenge.
Where's that at?
Amarillo.
Yeah.
Is it like a chicken fried steak type thing?
I can
No.
do that. I can
Oh,
kill
it's just
that.
a steak?
Yeah. I've eaten that much.
Arian, you think you could do it?
That's like 6.
No, easily.
I think I've eaten 48 ounces once.
72 ounces?
Easily. Yeah.
Meat's easy to just put down.
But it also comes with 3 sides. I think you have to eat like 3 massive side dishes too.
What?
Yeah.
That's
That might get me if it's bread. But for the most part, I usually just tell myself to stop eating. Like I have an appetite that I could just continue to eat. Like it's wild.
Carbs fill you up. I feel like in my like dumb brain that sometimes like takes too much into account. I feel like hunters like had to like have no limit on as much meat as they can eat because it might be the only time they like as a way to carry that meat. So they just eat it and there's no like off switch.
But you're not a hunter.
No, but I'm just thinking like hunter gatherer, like
Oh, like your generation.
Billy's an alpha dog. Billy's an alpha.
And your
he don't check up on
ancestral
his
hunting
friends.
genes.
He don't check up on his friends. He think it's soft when they get colds and shit.
dude, if my buddy was like, "Oh, I got a cold," I'd be like, "Yo, go drink some Dayquil and Emergency and Jack 3D and let's go." Like, that's what we used to do.
Yep.
Wait, do your Billy voice again, Arian?
Nah, I'm done.
I like that.
I respect Billy's take. I think we
It's
need,
just like back when people were sick.
I don't agree with it at all, but I think it's hilarious. And I'm glad that you have it.
Wait, Pfizer CEO is trending as we're recording. He predicts an Omicron vaccine will be ready in March.
Okay.
Oh, another one.
All right. Well, are you going to get a Big T?
How many government
No, I'm
contracts?
done. I got the vaccines they said I needed to get. I'm done getting vaccines.
Yeah,
I'm getting boosted this weekend.
same.
Really?
No,
Oh.
same. I'm done with.
Oh.
I got the piece of paper. I'm done.
Okay. We'll see about that.
I will quit.
I'm not enforcing him in. I am saying though,
Here's an interesting paragraph.
places that we have to go sometimes will not let
They
you
need
in.
the one.
If you stop at Albuquerque, let me know. Hit me up. I got a great spot for you, bro.
Oh hell yeah! I think we might. I think Albuquerque's right along the way.
If you do y'all like spicy food?
Yes.
Yes.
I got you, dog. I got you.
All right.
Pfizer will produce the doses to be ready in case countries want the shots, but Borland noted that it was unclear if a vaccine targeting variants was necessary or how exactly it would be used.
Okay.
That's the guy making it.
No, you said it was a Pfizer CEO, right?
Yeah, Albert Bourla.
He's not making the vaccine. He's
In charge of the
overseeing.
people who are.
Aren't we?
So
I think,
All right. I think we're about done here.
Yeah. Can this be the last time we talk about vaccines ever?
Please,
Nope.
yeah.
nope.
It might
All
be.
right.
That's a maybe.
I was thinking it's like hold on. First of all, this was a big pharma episode, and there's no other bigger stage to talk about big pharma than right now.
That's actually
I'm gonna
very
be honest.
true.
I think all of us said a lot of stupid stuff.
I think this is one of our summers.
Nah, speak for yourself, G.
I think this episode, a big pharma episode, leads to a Theranos episode.
A small pharma episode.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yes,
a girl boss pharma episode.
famous girl bosses throughout history.
Number one.
Cleopatra.
She was a girl boss. Yeah,
She was a
Yeah.
girl boss.
Eve,
Eve,
she, total girl boss.
girl boss.
Would you consider Mary to be a girl boss?
Girl boss.
Was she?
Yeah.
Not really. Not really.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
She got
Her son was a total girl boss.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He was a girl.
I would just like it also noted this isn't what y'all were talking about, but the Pfizer CEO also said in an interview today, quote, 2 doses of the vaccine offers very limited protection, if any.
Okay, 2 doses of the vaccine offers limited protection, if any, for what?
That's like, you just reading headlines.
No, I'm reading his quote.
For Omicron.
This is a
Like-
pyramid scheme. You just gotta keep
2
buying
doses
them.
of the vaccine offers very limited protection, if any. 3 doses with a booster offer reasonable protection against hospitalization and deaths, less protection against infection.
And that's for Omicron.
I'm assuming that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
How long will Omicron stick around hypothetically?
I
though?
can't wait for Decepticon. That one's gonna be cool.
They should have called it Omelta, this new Deltacron thing they're talking about. Omelta's such a better
That's
name.
better. It sounds like an omelet.
Yeah. All right, that does it for us. We will see you guys on Thursday. We're going to do voicemails. What's the
Yes.
number for voicemails?
It is 347-560-0401.
Okay. We will see you guys on Thursday. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye. Alabama 30, Georgia 21.